All right, Doc, thanks. So to quote Allen Iverson, we were talking about practice. Now it's time to talk about racing. The 10-month journey to the NASCAR Nationwide Series Championship takes a few twists and turns. Today, the usual diet of going fast and turning left, getting spiced up with the hills and curves of the Watkins Glen Road course. A very high-speed place where those baby blue guardrails are just looking to eat up a race car. And what a field. The usual contenders, Kyle and Carl, Kid Keselowski, and a host of Cup invaders like Kevin Harvick, and some road course aces like Robbie Gordon, defending winner Marcos Ambrose, and a fast fellow from Canada who's won this race 3 times before. We're counting down to the green flag as the NASCAR Nationwide Series goes road racing in Watkins Glen, New York.
T-minus 10, 9, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, ignition.
ESPN welcomes you to NASCAR Countdown. It's race 22 of the season, the first on a road course this year. 200 miles over the twists and turns of Watkins Glen, a very fast track where it's already been a very action-filled weekend. Want to know how tough this place can be? Well, watch this. Jason Leffler, 4th in points during Friday's final practice. Coming off of turn 9 and wham! A wicked crash that destroyed Leffler's primary car, but fortunately left the driver uninjured. He'll start 28th in a backup car. Qualifying was this morning from 10 to noon local time, and it was Kevin Harvick setting a new track record for the NASCAR Nationwide Series in that 33 car. Lowered the old record by a couple of tenths of a second. Harvick will lead this field to the green flag shortly. He edged Marcos Ambrose, the defending winner of this race, by, get this, 28 1/1000ths of a second to take pole position. And third fastest in qualifying was Robbie Gordon, always a factor here, lining up today on the inside of row 2. Let's hear from Robbie with Jamie Little.
Every single race he started here in the Nationwide Series, he has started top 10. So you have your track position, Robbie. What is it going to take over these next 82 laps to get you into victory lane?
Well, the first thing is to make it 82 laps. That's what seemed to bite us the last couple of years. We had some bolts actually strip out last time they held the radiator in. Got a good fix for that. You know, the guys are doing a really good job as far as maintenance the cars. So now we just got to hope that we dotted all our I's and crossed all our T's. As far as speed, I feel really good. I feel like we're there. It seems like our car gets faster on the long runs, like Kevin Harvick. Marcos Ambrose lap in qualifying was really impressive. I was surprised we got down there as close as we did to him because I thought that was going to be unbeatable. But you know, I feel good with the Hard Rock Toyota, and I think we'll do a good job.
Well, he's considered a road course ace. 3 top 5s here. He's looking for that first win. Alan.
All right, Jamie, thanks. A NASCAR Nationwide Series race on a road course always brings out the ringers, guys who've made their name in road course racing and who are a little more used to turning right and shifting gears. Some names you'll see in here today, not normally in a weekly Nationwide Series field, include Justin Marks from the Grand Am Series, Antonio Perez from Mexico, and Rapid Ron Fellows, who starts the Dale Jr. Rick Hendrick 5 car from the 10th spot. Shannon.
Well, Ron Fellows has 13 nationwide road course starts, 7 of those top 10s, 6 outside the top 20. It seems like it's win it or lose it with you, Ron. Why is that?
Well, that's why we're here, to try to win it. I think there's probably a few in the early years where we may have DNF'd 1 or 2, but yeah, I've been pretty fortunate. You know, with Joe Nemechek's team and working with Brian Patty, and now again with Dale Jr. another win. You know, Rick Hendrick and with Brian Campy. Common theme there, Brian's. Yeah, the car's pretty good. So we're looking forward to sticking around. We'll look at the weather and see what's going to happen. And yeah, it's going to be fun. It's always great here at the Glen. Love the high-speed corners, and it's also makes for a really good race.
Another common theme for Ron Fellows is this is the same car that he won with in Montreal. Alan?
All right, Shannon, thanks. And the most recent winner in the Nationwide Series, Brad Keselowski. They're looking at some rain tires. The 25-year-old Michigan native locked up in a duel with this series' most dominant driver last Saturday at Iowa.
The first Nationwide Series event ever at this beautiful facility, and this race is green.
A number of the double-duty drivers starting at the back of the field.
Here's Kyle Busch plowing his way to the front of the field.
That 33 car is flat on the move.
As the battle for the lead is on in 2.
Go, come on. Kevin Harvick in the 33 is behind the wall in the garage.
Caution is out. There's a car up into the wall in turn number 2.
We can't give up track position. I can't beat them if I do the same thing they do.
Oh, Keselowski stays out, thanks everybody.
Well, it could be a sitting duck or it could be a stroke of genius.
Busch
Exciting win for the 88 and Brad Keselowski last week in Iowa. You can't get much more of a different circuit than where we are this weekend at Watkins Glen. What's been the biggest challenge for you in being a good race car driver here at Watkins Glen, Brad?
Well, this is a whole different world. This isn't just a different track, it's a whole different world, and everything you do is different. So there's a lot of different challenges, but the cool thing about NASCAR is that since you go to so many different types of tracks between short tracks, speedways, super speedways, and road courses, that to be a champion here or to be the best, you have to be diverse. So that's a cool thing about our sport, and I kind of welcome the challenge here at Watkins Glen, and hopefully I'll have a strong GoDaddy.com Chevrolet to maybe win back-to-back.
Brad Keselowski, third in points. He starts 14th today. Alan?
All right, Vince, thank you. Talked about some unfinished business from Iowa last week that we want to kind of tuck together. Rusty Wallace, being the designer of that Iowa Speedway, last week was roasted. His brother Kenny, among those, choosing to point out Rusty's now famous hairstyle from the about 1970s?
That was way back, no doubt about that.
All right. And then a custom-built motorcycle that was auctioned off for charity before the race, ridden around the Speedway by NASCAR President Mike Helton, looking stylish there on board that machine.
He's cruising there.
I'm telling you. And inside our ESPN pit studio with two-time Watkins Glen winner Rusty Wallace and Brad Daugherty and Mike Helton, who's joined us, and a little unfinished business from last week, Mike.
Yeah, just we had our NASCAR Foundation board meeting Wednesday, and Rusty's a board member, and Betty Jane France presented Rusty with this plaque of thanks for all the effort that he personally did to make that Rusty Roast very successful for not just Iowa, but for the NASCAR Foundation and everybody that benefits from the foundation. So we wanted, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to make this a little more public, and Rusty, present this to you in front of your audience, so to speak, and your peers here. And again, tell you how grateful we are for your commitment to the NASCAR Foundation and to NASCAR as a business and a sport, but also in a way congratulate you on a very successful weekend last weekend in Iowa, so thank you.
Well, Mike, I appreciate it a lot. It was a great week, and everybody knows the foundation is really gaining some traction. It's an awesome company, and I'm just glad to be involved with it. We are raising a lot of money, and we're able to raise some money here at Iowa, over $300,000, and above that, we had a great race in Iowa too. That was fun, and I appreciate this. It's a heck of an honor for me.
And if this team owning and broadcasting thing doesn't work out, you could always be modeled.
Is it true that this is the best side home? Vanna White may be in trouble.
Mike, we just saw Brad Keselowski looking at some rain tires. Yeah. Goodyear's brought a new generation of rain tire here for today. That's the plan for the Nationwide Series, correct?
That's correct.
Not for the Sprint Cup Series for tomorrow, though.
That's correct.
And why the difference?
Well, the concept of the wet tire started with the Cup Series. Gosh, it's been, what, 12 years ago or 15 years ago now, Rusty, if you remember when we went to Japan, we took a wet tire over there because we had to get done and come home.
Oh, yeah.
That transferred over to, well, why couldn't we do that at Watkins Glen or Sears Point? Of course, it doesn't rain much on us at the Infineon, but so for several years, we anticipated the possibility of using them on the Cup side. As time went on, and the thought process around that was, and the sport grew, the stakes around the Cup Series grew. We thought, okay, the fans expect this race in its best scenario, and all of our races should be. So we need to do a little bit more due diligence on how to get this right, and so we backed away from the Cup side. We put it as an option on the Nationwide side. Primarily, it came back when we went to Mexico City and had the time constraints of getting in and out of there. So we applied it back to the Nationwide side as a fallback there, and says, okay, well, if we're going to do it down there, then let's be ready to do it at Montreal and be ready to do it at Watkins Glen. We used them last year at Watkins Glen on the Nationwide side. Got a lot of experience. Goodyear did, the teams did, NASCAR did, and so we continue to use them as a nationwide element, but not yet again brought them into the Cup side for no other reason other than just a business decision right now. Yep. Not to say that one day we will not use them on the Cup side again, but right now it's a nationwide issue.
Mike, talking about the nationwide cars, a lot of people are talking about the new nationwide car tomorrow. Where's the schedule on that stand right now in NASCAR's eyes?
Yeah, we're really close, and I think you guys talked a little bit about it in Iowa last weekend on the broadcast, that we, about 10 days ago, had a meeting with a group of nationwide car owners and vented out the issues around the car, and particularly on the rollout of the car. When is the smartest, or what is the smartest rollout for the nationwide garage? And the car owners are obviously the principal voice and all of that. And so we walked away from that meeting. We'll have an answer really quick. Really soon. It's not quick enough, or we would have already made one, but we'll have an answer really soon. And you know, we probably walked away from that meeting with a bit of a modification on what we thought. The schedule will probably be backed up a little bit, but sometime in 2010, where it does make sense, where it starts, where it runs, and then where it flows from there, we'll come up with an answer pretty soon.
Thanks for the time to answer a couple questions. I know you got a race to run, and we got a race to get ready for, too. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Appreciate that.
Mike Helton, the president of NASCAR, with us on NASCAR Countdown from Watkins Glen. Still to come, we are going to talk a lot about road course racing and what it's going to take to win today, from the key corners of this track to the superb strategy that will be required to get track position. And Kyle and Carl, they've been up front on most of the ovals, but what about here? Can they be kings of the road too? Kyle starts 7th, while Carl Edwards starts 11th. We will talk to both drivers. All that and much more from NASCAR Countdown at Watkins Glen.
It's about time to get ready to rumble.
NASCAR Countdown, brought to you by Nationwide Insurance. Play Driver Pickup, presented by Nationwide Insurance on ESPN.com for a shot at $500.
Getting ready to go road course racing at Watkins Glen International for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. What was a sunny, beautiful day, beginning to get a little bit overcast and cloudy. We'll keep an eye on the radar as the event unfolds. A look at the leading winners in the NASCAR Nationwide Series where road courses are concerned. 3 of Ron Fellows' 4 wins happened at the Glen, while Terry Labonte won this race 3 years in a row at one point and 4 overall. And then there's Kevin Harvick with 2 road course wins. He won Montreal and Watkins Glen back-to-back in 07. He starts on the pole today, Dave.
And Alan, that's the way Kevin began the season, to pole at Daytona. I have a feeling that the starting position here a little bit more important on the road course.
Yeah, I think definitely be more important. The first pit stall, starting up front, and hopefully being able to play out our strategy like we need to and have it all go our way today. So everybody on the Copart Chevrolet's done a good job in preparing these cars, and JR did a nice job in getting his car in the race. So everything's gone good so far, and now we just got to run 82 laps and see what happens.
Kevin busted up a heck of a lap this morning, Jamie.
Well, when it comes to road courses, this man is a staple. Boris said, we call you a road course warrior or ringer. We could call you either one. What sets you apart from guys like Ryan Newman, who normally race on an oval?
Well, I mean, it's just my background was, 15 years of racing sports cars for BMW and a lot of Ford products. So I don't know where the term road course ringer came, because we've never really won any of these races. But, Ryan Newman and the regulars are still the people to beat. But I think we're on more even ground, even footing for the race. So I'm excited about it. I mean, the Zaxby's Ford has been pretty good. It's a little small for me right now. I'm kind of in the fetal position in there, but hopefully we'll have a good day and maybe I can get him a top 5, top 10.
Boris said, our in-race reporter, and he's looking for his first win. Vince?
Well, the gentleman who won this race a year ago, Marcos Ambrose, with his daughters, Adelaide and Tabitha, and it says Miles of Smiles on the back of their shirt, and you've been smiling all weekend very fast. What do you have to be the winner again today?
Well, I just got to forget about qualifying, because I'm still mad at Harvick for pipping me on the pole there. I thought we had it, but we've got a great race car. We're trying to just defend our title for STP. They were good enough to sponsor us last year in the blue and red car, and we're trying to do it again for them. And it's exciting. We've got a great piece. We've got a good chance, just like many drivers out there, and hopefully we're going to be the one that makes it stick.
Marcos Ambrose hopes to be smiling in victory lane at the end of this one today.
All right, Vince, thanks. Let's take a look at the track that'll challenge these drivers. This Watkins Glen layout includes the boot section that was used for sports car and IndyCar races, but not for NASCAR, so take that part away. It's a 2.45-mile lap with 11 turns and a good bit of elevation change, too. Turn 1, a critical spot.
Oh, turn 1 is a very, very critical spot. Watch them dive down into turn 1 here. You got to get in it. This is a place where you can really pass, but you can really crash, too. And you got to be careful getting to this corner just right. Now, let me show you the wrong way to do this. Take a look at Carl Edwards and Clint Boyer. Oh, bam! Let me tell you, that's not the way to do it right there.
You're right, Rusty. And as you come up the hill, going through the S's, you're up through the gearbox. That old race car is up the full song as you head down towards the bus stop. It's a very narrow part of the racetrack, so there's not a lot of passing, but a lot of speed, and you're trying to get it woed up before you get to that bus stop.
And boy, that bus stop's another good one to pass in. They fly getting in that corner. They overtake each other, and it's a really easy spot to get off course. You see that kitty litter, those traps I call it, to the left. You get off on that stuff, it's a big, big problem. You get stuck right there, and you don't want that to happen.
And when when you come off the exit of that outer loop, if it gets bad, it gets bad.
Oh, man, you get off in that grass. Look at Jason left. Tore that car up to pieces. And that turn 9, if you get too wide, it'll eat you up. You got to be careful right there.
You've been all 4 corners of that race car. Then you come down to where the gravel pit is. You really have to be careful. It's a great opportunity to pass, though, if you can get it braking. If you can outbrake the car going into the corner, as you see right here. Watch the 48 car. Well, he's woed up, slides right under, slides right up in front, and he takes a spot. If you come in there too hot, though, you're going to go out, you're going to eat a little grass, you're going to grab a little bit of gravel. It's going to be a long day, Rusty.
And you got to stay in the throttle, because if you don't, you'll get stuck in that stuff, and you'll have to come get you out of there with a wrecker. Hey, look at all those rocks on the track. That'll blow tires out. But I tell you, that is a tough corner right there. And around turn 11 and back to the start-finish line. And guys, that's an eventful lap at Watkins Glen.
You get to do it again.
And then that turn 1 that we talked about being so critical, especially with the shootout-style restarts now. We all agree it's going to be wild, right?
Oh, you had to start something there, Alan. I'll tell you, they're going to be side by side. I predict late in the race, the last 30 laps, when these guys are low on brakes, there's going to be some big crashes, Brad, right there.
They need to get me some oxygen up here, because I'm going to be holding my breath every time these guys barrel off down there. I was talking to Denny Hamlin yesterday, and he said, man, I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is you can't lift and you can't be last. It's going to be big.
Now, strategy is always crucial in these road course races. Getting it just right is very difficult to do, but that strategy is different than an oval race. For that, let's go upstairs, bring in our champion crew chief, Andy Petrie, who was in the booth getting ready to call this race. And Andy, what's different and why?
You guys are having too much fun down there, Alan. Hey, the big thing about strategy on a road course is you can pit under green without losing a lap if you're within about 20 seconds or so of the leader, and that's what makes it all work, because if you can get in there, get your pit stop made, get back out on the track, you don't lose a lap. If that caution comes out, you're able to catch right back up to the field and make up all the track position you lost when you made that pit stop.
Want to use a little bit of video from last year's race, Andy, just to illustrate how the thing's going to work. This is last year's race. The eventual winner, Marcos Ambrose, pits here under caution at lap 12 in the race. And then he and the other leaders, including Jimmy Johnson, came in again under caution at lap 42. Some made it to the checkers, some didn't.
Yeah, they were planning on getting more caution laps to try to extend their fuel range and mileage. They didn't get those last year. And Jimmy Johnson, you see right here, he runs out of fuel and had to make that late race pit stop and just knocked him completely down in the standings. So the same thing happened to Jeff Burton, but it did allow Marcos Ambrose. He had enough fuel and they had enough range in that tank to make it to the end. And that's just a key part of road course racing, Alan.
So a key thing for late in this race, counting caution laps after we see what we believe the leader's last pit stop has been.
Yes, because those caution laps, you use about half the amount of fuel under caution that you do under green. That extends that range. That's why you see these guys gambling. Even though they may not be able to go but say 35 laps, they may pit with 37 laps to go, counting on those caution laps.
Andy Petrie, we'll talk to you in just a couple of minutes.
Okay, Alan, thanks.
He wasn't wearing that tie a few minutes ago.
He's quick.
Very nice.
He's like Batman.
As the finish of last year's race here showed, fuel mileage is critical, but with all the right-hand turns instead of lefts, the fuel system's a little different on these cars. For more on that, we go to the Craftsman Tech Garage and our other champion crew chief, Tim Brewer.
One of the most important aspects of road racing is making sure you get all the fuel out of the fuel cell. On all the short tracks and the speedways we normally run, we run the pickup in the right rear corner. We've got the flappers that contain the fuel around the pickup. We actually have a baffle that contains all the fuel towards the right side. But road racing, different animal. You're turning left and right, so you got the doors in the left and the right side. You're actually accelerating, which opens the door, lets the fuel come back, and when you deaccelerate, the door closes. But you have to contain the fuel around this pickup area. NASCAR does not dictate where this pickup goes. So if you manipulate it and move it around to where it picks up all the fuel in the can, you might be able to win your road race.
All right, Tim, very interesting. So get all the fuel you can out. Driver introductions ongoing. You see, though, competitors in today's race being paraded around Watkins Glen International. How could we have too much fun? That's not possible.
That's not possible.
No, not at all.
We're racing.
Tomorrow at 1 Eastern, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series goes racing here at Watkins Glen. Let's see, Tony Stewart's won 4 of the last 7 here. You've got on the front row Jimmy Johnson and Kurt Busch. They've tangled a few times this year. Marcos Ambrose is up there. Jeff Gordon's coming from the back. All kinds of stuff tomorrow. Watkins Glen, 1 Eastern time on ESPN. Today, it's the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Getting set to go racing, we check the championship standings for the Nationwide Series and see Kyle Busch pulling away from Carl Edwards a little bit here these last couple of weeks. 207 the gap between first and second. Season bests so far for Stephen Wallace and Justin Allgaier, equaling Allgaier's season best in points. Let's hear it from Kyle and Carl. Shannon?
Well, last season, Kyle Busch was the king of the road course, winning 2 races in the Cup Series and 1 in the Nationwide Series. Kyle, for a guy who grew up racing on the Bull Ring at Las Vegas, why is road course racing so much more fun for you?
Well, I mean, I grew up racing the road courses too. During the wintertime we had some, but you know, it's fun. It's just cool to go out there, turn right, turn left, and you know, out-brake people, out-accelerate people. It's just something a little different, so not growing up doing it, you know, it makes it a little more challenging. All
right, good luck to you today. Kyle Busch rolls off 7th. Vince?
Carl Edwards will start 11th today and chasing Kyle in the points chase in the championship. Do you have something for him today?
You know, I hope so. This Save-A-Lot Fusion has been pretty good in practice. I was real slow, not real slow in qualifying, but slower than I thought we'd be. But, you know, the little bit of cloud cover here, the speeds are going to pick up, and, you know, these cars are pretty fun. So hopefully on the long run, we'll have something for him.
Carl Edwards looks to get to victory lane today for the first time.
All right, thanks. And you see in the truck there with Vince and Carl is Ryan Newman. James Finch, team owner of the one car, has made a driver change this week. Mike Bliss is out. Ryan Newman is in here. Clint Boyer and Martin Truex Jr. will drive that car in upcoming races. That's part of our J-Ski news and notes. Included in that, a mention of Kyle Busch saying this week that he's not going to run for the Nationwide Series Championship next year. Going to cut back the jet-setting races. Just do the companions.
That makes sense. Makes sense.
And Kenny Wallace going to be sponsored by some 5,000 fans who all chipped in to get his J. Robinson racing car to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve race in Montreal, August 30th.
Best fans in all of sports.
He gave him $100 grand yesterday. I told him, don't let that car owner spend it too quick, though. He already paid yesterday.
There you go. Rusty, quickly, when you look at the starting grid here, the Sprint Cup guys and the road race guys are all up the front. A lot of the Nationwide regulars, mid-pack on down. What's in this race for them?
Right now, these guys just got to be careful, Alan. They got to gain points, and above all, get experience. This is a big day to gain some experience, but you know what? They want to win, too. They got to stay on the course. They got to be careful out there. They got to bring that old hot rod home, I call it, not make any mistakes, and gain that experience, like I said earlier.
A guy like Brad Keselowski still has a chance at this championship. It's not over. He thinks he can still win a championship, so he's going to go out and try to win this race.
Driver introductions wrapping up. Drivers coming back around toward the grid. There's Mr. Keselowski and Marcos Ambrose. They're all going to be buckling in momentarily here at the Glen. Historic Watkins Glen, where a very star-filled field goes after the latest trophy, from Sprint Cup stars to road course veterans to the Nationwide Series regulars who run every week. It's going to be a tough fight. There is a front that is to the west of us. Goodyear does have a rain tire here. Will we see it during the day today? I don't know. That's one of those things we're going to have to wait and find out as they go for 200 miles. They're the new generation Goodyear rain tires. Let's go trackside now for the opening ceremony.
Now delivering today's invocation, Reverend David Fife from Bentley Creek Wesleyan Church.
Thank you, Lord, for the day that you've given us for this running of the Zippo 200. May each driver, crew member, course worker, may they all enjoy your hand of protection. And help us to remember, Lord, that all good things come from you. Amen.
And now, with our national anthem, once again, please give a warm welcome to Nashville recording artist Megan Linville.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled
So time for the teams to go to work after their early morning in the garage and preparing for qualifying. And now we begin to find out who ends up in the gravel traps and who ends up in victory lane. What will the winning strategy be? The engines fire and we begin to get those answers. Don't try this at home. Next.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Watkins Glen International is brought to you by Nationwide Insurance, official auto insurance partner of NASCAR, and Verizon Wireless. Get the inside track for Penske Racing, race analysis from our drivers, plus highlights and more on VCast.
Pit crews having their final instructions in their huddle before they break for a day's worth of work.
Do work! It's a good finish. All right. Win on 3. 1, 2, 3. Win! Okay.
And as the crews get ready to go on pit road, so many things are different for those teams down there today, right, Dave Burns?
Yep, Alan, it's different than an oval because fresh tires don't matter nearly as much at the end of a race, and track position matters a whole lot more. If you can make your last pit stop before your competitors, you can gain an advantage. Be the first to pit last with enough fuel to make it to the end, or not enough fuel and a whole lot of luck. Jamie?
Well, Dave, for the first and only time this year, these teams will pit the car backwards. Everything is pretty much reversed. Now, I talked to a lot of crew chiefs. Most teams did what was kind of like a tryout this week to see which one of their pit crew guys would go over the wall in what position. Well, Carl Edwards' team, the 60 crew, decided to swap their front and rear tire changers and carriers. So they're actually going to be doing something a little bit different today. So they're hoping it all works out. Timing may be off a little bit, so watch for pit stops to be a little slower today. Vince?
Well, it's also different in the fact that you've got some ringers here, as we call them, road course ringers. Guys like Ron Fellows or a Boris Said, a Max Pappas, they specialize in turning left and right. And anytime they get in a road course, you've got to consider them among the favorites. But we've also got some NASCAR regulars who are pretty good turning left and right as well. Guys like Kevin Harvick and Ryan Newman, winners here. Kyle Busch, extremely strong on the road courses. And we haven't even mentioned the winner of this race a year ago, Marcos Ambrose. There's a big pool to choose from when you're looking for a favorite today. Shannon?
Vince, there are 17 double-duty drivers in today's race, and there really are two schools of thought as to whether running both series can be an asset. For the veterans, because braking points, the lines they run on the track, and even the downforce are very different between the two cars, it can be difficult to adapt. But for younger drivers like Joey Logano, teams look at the big picture. While the 20 team told me they would love to have Joey full-time in this car this weekend all to themselves, they realize that the extra track time between the Cup and the Nationwide is valuable not only for the Nationwide Series, but for Joey's Cup efforts tomorrow. Alan?
All right, Shannon, thank you. Justin Allgaier better hurry up and get buckled up because they're going to give the command to fire these engines in less than a minute, and he still doesn't have that helmet on yet. I wonder if they have a problem there. We'll get somebody to follow up on that. Maybe a little radio connection issue. Or
He's just trying to keep his head cool.
You think that's what it is? What it is? Well, you don't want to be late to work.
That's right. That's true.
For sure. Justin Allgaier getting set to go in Roger Penske's 12 car. The captain just walked by us down pit road here, and we'll see how they fare in today's race. Allgaier starting in 27th spot. So clearing the grid down along the pit lane and by the microphone at the start-finish line, gathering the dignitaries to say those famous words and get them fired up at historic Watkins Glen.
And now, race fans, it's time for the most famous words in motorsports. Please re-welcome your Grand Marshal, Syracuse football coach Doug Marrone.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Gotcha, you got me. Check. Check. Info. Take care of everything. Here today. Gotcha, good sir. I got whichever spotter that was, Mike or Mr. Boyer on the back.
And as you can see, as the pictures come by, Justin Allgaier still waiting on a very important piece of equipment, a helmet to go racing.
Yeah, I don't quite know what's going on right there. I mean, the winner that's going up, he usually needs a little assistance getting that helmet on.
So we'll follow up.
Wireless sponsor.
Vince, you got a follow-up for us?
Well, the 12 of Justin Allgaier was late getting to his car because he's got an upset stomach, so he's been back and forth to the restroom right down here near Pit Road. So was getting late getting to the car. Thinks he's going to be all right, but on the run, so to speak.
And it looks like they're changing from a tinted shield, and very nice line there, by the way, Vince, from a tinted shield to a clear shield for the race with the cloud cover that's come over. All right, let's head upstairs for all the starts, stops, and gear changes along the way. The boys in the booth, Dale Jarrett, Andy Petrie, and Marty Reed, all yours, gentlemen.
All right, thank you, Alan. Hello again, everybody. Let's focus in on the two major issues that touched about on Countdown. It's brakes and it's fuel.
Oh, it is. It's the whole strategy is about fuel. And this race at road course, any road course is like that, and they'll figure all this from the back, from the last part of the race backwards, and the brakes. I mean, you got to make time. You got to have really good brakes. You've got to use the brakes a lot. There's a lot of long straightaways leading to tight corners, but they really need to try to stretch that fuel range all they can, because that's what it's all about here today.
Yeah, and from a driver's perspective, that's hard to do on this road course. You have to attack this place, so you're going to have to really be conservative when you have those cautions, even under the pace laps here, to save as much fuel as you possibly can. The brakes, you really do have to take care of those. You can't abuse them. You can get yourself in trouble if you're trying to do too much at the beginning, because when it gets down to the end of this race, you want to make some passes, you've got to be able to rely on those, so you really have to be careful.
This track in Martinsville, the two hardest on brakes, and we'll be focusing on that and the fuel as this race continues. Our in-race reporter is that man right there, Boris Said. We'll get a chance to talk to him when we return and get this race underway here at the Glen. The soul of road course racing, Watkins Glen, and in the streets back in 1948, they used to run literally over the roads. Finally built the road course here, and it's had several configurations. It is just beautiful up here in the summertime. Take a look from Google Earth, and we'll show you what the Glen looks like today. And if you were with us a little over a month ago when the Indy cars were here, you know they run the entire 3.45-mile layout, including the boot. But I think it was back in 1986 that NASCAR said, let's shorten it to 2.45 miles. And DJ, it's exciting.
It is. As you go down turn one, high braking area here, but you need to get through there with a lot of speed, because you go 2 through 4, up through the S's down the long back straightaway as we get to the bus stop. Really have to carry some speed through here. Out of turn 9 down to turn 10 is where our left-hander is. High speed. It's a high braking area. Also, you don't want to get the car wheel hopping. You see that gravel pit. You don't want to end up in there. Turn 11 brings us back to the start-finish line.
So that gives you an idea of what Watkins Glen is going to look like. Our starting grid will come across the top of the screen. Two changes to make note of. Chris Cook is out of the 90. He is jumping in to replace Ken Butler in the 23. Mike Bliss will take over the 90. Both those cars will go to the rear. Let's talk to our in-race reporter. It's Boris Said. DJ, all yours.
Hey, Boris, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. You have a copy?
Go, Dale.
Hey, Boris, our first question comes from our ESPN mailbag, and Robert from Fullerton, California would like to know, says, you are known as a road course ringer, but you haven't won on one of these yet in the Nationwide Series. How hard is it to race against this competition?
I mean, this is the toughest race in the world, and I never came up with the term road course ringers. I don't know why they do it, because it seems like the regulars always win, but I think we're on pretty even ground, and I got a pretty good car this weekend, so I'm not saying it can never happen, but I'm going to do my best in this Zaxby's car to make it happen.
Hey, Boris, know this is a difficult place and very few places to make really a legitimate pass, but do you have a favorite spot that you're looking at today to take care of the competition that might be in front of you?
I mean, the two best places for me are turn 1, out braking somebody, and then going down the back straightaway. If you can get a run up through the S's, as you well know, going down to that bus stop chicane is a really good passing spot.
Well, Boris, we consider you a road course ringer, definitely. Good luck out there today. And now Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Brad Parrott.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, Brad, Andy Petrie in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir, Andy. Go ahead.
Oh, come on, dude. Nice outfit. Hey, we'll get serious here for a second. We're talking about road course racing, and when you make adjustments, you hear the car's loose or tight. We kind of know what those adjustments are on an oval, but what about on a road course when you're turning both ways?
Well, Andy, it's like giving directions to a car or a person coming straight at you. Today we'll be using a sheet of paper, right-handed and left-handed turns for all our adjustments. I'll be doing some left side adjustment if we're tight on the left front, or if we're tight on the right-hand turns, I'll be doing some right front adjustment. Probably won't be doing any track bar wedge today because Boris said and this Zaxby Ford's got it going on. We're going to the front.
Yeah, hey, dude, looks like you got your set head on, too, today, so keep your head on straight and have a good one. Thanks for talking to us.
10-4, I look forward to talking to you later.
Oh, yesterday, if you were with us, there was a whole group of set heads, and it was humorous, to say the least. Now, remember we were talking about having your head on? Well, there is Justin Allgaier. Still has an upset stomach, but he's out there on the track. Let's listen into Roger Penske.
Roger, I'm down here. I'm the new driver. 4. Make a mistake today. I'm watching you from down here.
With your road racing background, if I need a relief driver, are you up for jumping in?
Ready to go. Ready to go.
Great exchange. Did you notice he was hitting the switch? He's trying to save some fuel.
I thought I saw that. Looked like he might be already on that fuel saving strategy on the pace lap.
Well, we're going to go green this next time by. And we've got several onboards for you. You see the one with Allgaier. There is the number 5 of Ron Fellows, and we've got a foot cam with Ron. And there's what that view is going to look like.
Yeah, that'll definitely be interesting as we watch him some today, is how he goes about negotiating this 11-turn road course.
Starting second, last year's winner, Marcus Ambrose. Now, we've got some cloud cover. He's got that tinted shield. Will that be a distraction?
Well, he might have to raise that up. He has that option that he can do so, but he likes it apparently looking through this.
Yeah, if he gets out front and runs like he's been practicing, I'd say he won't have to worry about getting anything in his eyes. He can pop it open, won't be anybody in front of him.
Ryan Newman taking over the one ride from Mike Bliss this week. There's our onboard view with him. Looks like he's got a nice cool drink ready to go. And the 23 car, as we mentioned, they made a driver change. Ken Butler is out of this. Chris Cook, who is a road course specialist, and he'll be in this seat. See what kind of ride, as he'll be coming from the back as he moves to the rear along with the 90. And we also have an onboard camera with Stephen Wallace. Stephen looking very good, very consistent. Of all the Nationwide drivers, he and Brad Keselowski have always been right there behind all of the guys that are doing double duty. Going over the wall today for us, Justin Fiedler. You see him practicing there. He's from Milwaukee, Oregon, the same hometown as Mike Bliss. He's the rear tire changer for Boris Said. And there are the set heads. Oh, golly, what a fan club he's got.
Yeah, they're filing in right in front of our booth.
And there is Boris. And as we talk about this, mentioned the pit window, and you can see all the stats right there, but we talk about counting back from the finish and why that is so important.
Yeah, that's why we look at that pit window as being the one from the end of the race backwards. You'll see a lot of cars starting to pit from 33 to 37 laps to go in this race, and they'll not be able to run that far this first pit stop because they were running on they have a fuel load now that they've actually qualified with, run these pace laps with. So you'll see these first pit stops, some of them you'll see very, very early because they want to try to even get that first pit stop out of the way as soon as possible.
Well, they've made their way through turn 10. You do not want to visit the beach off to the left of our camera there. If you get stuck in there, you have to get drug out. Through turn 11, the pace car will be pulling off, and from high above, they'll come under the bridge. The fans here in the front straightaway grandstand are on their feet, and it is time for race 22 of the NASCAR Nationwide Series to go green. Great start by Harvick, heading for one.
You can see Marcus Ambrose trying to block Robbie Gordon from getting in there. Here comes Scott Speed up on the outside, though.
Everybody going to make it through clean. We got guys heading off over the curbing, but so far so good.
Well, Scott Speed digging hard on the outside up into the S's. Makes a great pass on Ambrose.
Yeah, that's a tough place to go too wide.
Up through the S's. That's Kyle Busch trying to get underneath Brian Vickers. I think he's got it done. Down the straightaway, they're still side by side. Here comes Vickers back on him.
Well, let's see who's going to outbreak who here on this first lap.
One of the tough spots to get through if you're two abreast. So far, so good.
Everybody playing nice so far.
Oh, we got a little nudge back there.
Net making contact with Fitzpatrick there just a little bit. Everybody's clean now.
Back to the race lead. Kevin Harvick trying to open up a little bit of ground as he heads down towards turn number 10.
You see Ambrose really applying some pressure to Scott Speed here.
Oh, he gave him a little nudge too, and he's taking a look inside into 11.
Okay, now this is going to open the door up for Robbie Gordon to come with them. But if they were going to be side by side where they'd be 3 wide, now he's going to have to fight off Robbie Gordon as he go down to turn 1.
Looks like Gordon's got the spot on the position on him getting into turn 1.
Take a look a little further back. That is Vickers taking a look. Can't get it done. He'll pull back into line. What all this has done, Robbie Gordon gets a little loose. He's going to lose a spot or two.
Yeah, it's a nice move by Ambrose right there. You won't see that happen too many times, but if you find somebody that's gotten into that turn 1 a little too hard, you can take that spot away.
Oh, this gets dicey when you're going here double file through the S's.
That's Denny Hamlin in that 11 car. It's his first time in this ride. See Robbie Gordon wanting that spot back. Here comes Kyle Busch.
From high above, you get a view heading down into the bus stop. Hamlin slams the door on the 18. Down through turn 9, and look at what Harvick has been able to do while these guys have been beating and banging on each other. He's checking out.
Yeah, Marcus Ambrose is not wanting to stay behind Scott Speed very long. You can see he's going to try to make a move as they get to turn 10 here. Maybe he'll try to set him up once again as they get to 11.
Turn 1's the most likely spot for Ambrose to make this pass.
That is Carl Edwards, the 86. Right there with him is Antonio Perez from Mexico. He had a great qualifying run, and he's taking a look underneath through turn 11.
It's hard to make that move work, especially these cars that don't have as much horsepower as the Cup cars do. So you really have to set that guy up and get him coming out of that corner instead of trying to pass him going in. See, he's trying to outbrake Carl Edwards. I don't know if Carl knows he's there.
Not going to get it there. Brad Keselowski's looking at all this, and all of a sudden Carl goes wide. That opens the door again. Here comes Antonio, and he's going to take the position. So move Perez ahead of Carl into 12th.
Nice move. He showed us in qualifying that he has a really fast race car.
Last week's winner, Brad Keselowski, in the 88 right there, trying to size up Carl as he'd like to get around him. And right behind Brad is Jeff Burton, who had one eventful race here last year. Coming towards turn 10. There is your race leader, Kevin Harvick. He now has a 2.4-second lead over Scott Speed. Marcus Ambrose is third. Robbie Gordon is fourth. Denny Hamlin rounds out your top 5. Had one car taking a peek. That was the 10 car of Justin Marks, another road course specialist, as he's trying to take a look underneath the 16. Not going to get it done through 11 again. Watch Ambrose. Is he going to take a dive on the inside? No, he's basically going to stay in final turn there in the corner, and everybody's sort of settling down a little bit.
Well, you get that first lap kind of out of the way, and you get single file a little bit. The air pressure starting to build back up. Everybody kind of gets in a rhythm. Scott Speed's doing a nice job keeping that car in second.
They're letting that 33 car get out pretty far on them, though. Kevin Harvick's got a 2.5-second lead.
So we have completed lap 3. We're working on lap 4 here at Watkins Glen at the Zippo 200. Looking down from high above at Watkins Glen International, that's our race leader, Kevin Harvick. He has led from the drop of the green flag, and you can see the margin, what it looks like from there. And we've got a car off. It looks like Matt Carter down in turn 1 has looped it.
Just slipped off the racing surface. No harm, no foul. Back on the track he goes.
He'll drop a few spots, but like you said, no damage, so back out onto the track.
Nice recovery, Matt.
Take another look at it, see what happened to him.
Just too much speed there. Went to turn the steering wheel, and the back end was just too aggressive. Spins it around. That's a good thing about that pavement that they've put there. You got a little bit of runoff area.
And as they come by to complete lap 5, working lap 6, we can tell you that Mike Bliss has taken the 90 behind the wall. So that's our first of the starting parks. And here comes Robbie Gordon taking a look inside as he has gotten around Scott Speed as well. Ambrose got around Speed during the commercial break, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But right now, Scott Speed has got his hands full because here comes Denny Hamlin.
Well, you get shoved wide right there, you can they can take advantage of you pretty quick.
Yeah, you really have to be into the gas and going up through the S's, or you'll get passed in a hurry. If not, then you'll get out. Get these guys out braking you getting into the chicane.
Let's go back and show you how Ambrose got around.
Yeah, Scott Speed got a little wide there in turn 1. That opened the door for Marcus Ambrose. This is usually not a passing spot right there in 2.
Still out there, clear.
Ambrose had been running right on the bumper of Scott Speed, and I'm sure Speed was looking in that mirror quite a bit and then finally made a mistake.
Yeah, that's what you're hoping for, is you put enough pressure on the guy, you'll get him to just drive a little bit too hard into one of these corners.
He's our winner last year. We asked about what his secret is to running the road courses successfully.
I don't have the perfect lap ever on a road course. I just try to eliminate as many mistakes as I can. So I get the car very neutral. You know, it's not doing anything crazy. I want it so I can jump curbs. I want it so I can brake late, straight. I just want it very docile for me, so then I can look after the rest and not make the mistakes. So I think that's what is my secret to road racing, is that I don't look for the perfect lap. I just try to minimize my mistakes.
Well, there was a point where he was 3.4. Oh, no, and Vickers is off course and hard into the wall.
Transmission stuck in gear again. I can't move.
The caution is out. David Reagan, did he get in before the pits close? It looks like they are going to be able.
Looks like he's in, and he's taking his fuel. Going to get this pit stop out of the way. This is a big break if he made it onto pit road before the pit road was closed.
Go, 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 go.
Could be a big advantage for him down the stretch.
39.50, 39.50.
What they've decided is they can make it on 2 pit stops from this point forward, Andy.
They say 6 is clear. That means he got on pit road before the pit road was closed.
All right, this is what happened to the 32.
This is down as an exit turn 1.
Whoa.
Oh.
Looked like something maybe have happened to Vickers there. He checked up a little bit in front of Logano. That's not a spot you would normally get into the back of somebody.
Yeah, well past the apex of the corner.
That's what I was going to say. If he just had a transmission problem, couldn't get it in gear or out of gear or something, you can just see there was nothing that he could do there as far as Joey Logano.
DJ, that's the report we've got. Somebody was on the radio. They heard. He said the transmission locked up.
Book seat 92, same as the leader.
That's on board with Ron Fellows.
Still green.
Still green, and you heard and Fellows is mashing the gas. Well, they got a bit of an issue trying to get him off of the tires so that he can climb out of the car. He's got the helmet off and the steering wheel's off, so Brian is A-OK. Just not a lot of room.
We saw Reagan make his pit stop there after completing 8 laps, and that means he's going to have to run 2 segments of 37 laps to make it to the end of the race. So that's what their strategy is. They kind of revealed that pretty quick here. We'll see if some of the other cars can do the same thing, and they'll pit under this caution if they feel like they can make it on one more stop.
So the caution now helps them because, as you said in the countdown show, it's about half amount of fuel that you'll use in the lap as when you're racing.
Yeah, and Reagan's team, I'm sure, is counting on a lot of caution laps to extend that.
Well, we've seen during practice and qualifying that transmissions have become an issue from time to time. Let's check in the Craftsman Tech Garage with Tim Brewer. Tim, what can you tell us?
Tell you what, Marty, in years gone by, we had 3 shifter rails now, but we've got 1 single rail right here. We still have the standard H pattern, but when you go down in the corner, naturally you go down to 3rd gear to downshift, but when you come back to 2nd gear, you're coming across the shift panel right here, coming through that gate, and if you just somehow get it hung between the gear or lock the transmission up, you're not going to be able to shift it again. But with this enclosed area right here, we used to have trouble with rubber getting up in this area here and confining the shift lever movement. But we don't have that anymore with this enclosed area.
All right, thanks for the explanation, Tim. That really brings it into light and focus for us. Take one more look at it, and you can just see all of a sudden it looks like, oof, I'm stopping.
Yeah, he just instantly did a move that Logano was not anticipating when that thing didn't go in gear. And that's what caused the contact. But those transmissions are so highly stressed at this road course. You can't believe how far they've come over the last 15 years of how much more durable they are, but they still do give trouble.
Well, you see Brian is out of the car and walking away under his own power. Let's check in with Jamie Little.
Well, Marty, I could tell you what happened. The transmission got stuck in 2nd gear of Brian Vickers. That caused Joey Logano to tap him. And, of course, you saw him get out of the car, and we're heading back to the medical center to get a word with him.
All right. Well, thanks for the update. And so it does turn out to be exactly what they were talking about on the radio. And unfortunately, trying to get it out of gear now to get it up on the flatbed. 2 more turns to pit road, and we'll find out if anybody else wants to potentially take on a little fuel and some fresh rubber.
Well, we'll see if we got any gamblers that think they can make it 36 or 37 laps per segment.
Driver, what do you think? What do you want to do? Stay out?
That driver's going to do. What's the driver going to do? What the crew chief tells him, right?
What the crew chief says here. That's exactly right. There's too many things that are happening here.
You're passing the buck on me.
You know, I never really had an opinion as a driver here. You know, they're the ones that have to pay attention to this race and work it back. And I totally just went with what the crew chief had to say and what he felt.
Pits are still closed, so they're going to have to go around at least one more time. Looking down.
It may open up when the pace car comes by. We're waiting for that. There's a car sitting down there. They're still trying to load it.
Yeah, that's right on the exit of pit road, so they can't have cars going by there. They still haven't moved Brian Vickers' cars.
Well, this one more lap can change the decision of a few teams.
Yep. There's the waving flag. So one more lap around this 2.45-mile facility. We'll step aside for a quick break and catch anybody who pits when we return. One interested spectator down at the bus stop chicane here at Watkins Glen International in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. That's Juan Pablo Montoya. And where is he at? Right there. Gives you a good idea. He's watching everybody come through. One of the toughest parts of this racetrack.
He knows where the action's going to be.
That's exactly right.
Okay, so they will not be going green. In fact, we haven't even had the pit lane open up for stops.
It'll be open this time. We're going to see a lot of cars reveal their strategy when they come by that pit road opening.
Okay, so now with that one extra lap, does it change your strategy there, crew chief?
Yes, it can.
Okay.
If you can get that extra lap in there, it may make, you know, that decision where you say, hey, it's my break point. I can't make it from here, or I feel like possibly maybe I can if I've got one more lap. That changes it for sure. We'll see just how many cars take advantage of it.
Well, the first one who's going to have to make the call is the 33, Kevin Harvick. He dips below the line, and is everybody going to follow? Now he could fake everybody, and yes, he does. And Ambrose comes back out with him. But Speed. Robbie Gordon's going in, and Scott Speed does the fake
Scott
also.
Speed stayed out.
So Robbie Gordon, of the top 8-9 cars, he is the first to come in, and the only one to come in.
Robbie Gordon could be a gambler here. He could say, I can only go 35 laps, but I'm counting on some caution, so I'm going to come in here and roll the dice.
Carl Edwards, Brad Keselowski. There is Jeff Burton. They're also coming in.
Yeah, Greg Biffle there in the 16 car. So we're going to have a lot of different strategies going on here today, just like we anticipated.
Let's go to Shannon Spake.
Carl Edwards says the car's a little bit tight, but guys, they're just going to go with fuel, about 4 seconds of fuel for the 60 car, and he is out of his pit stall.
And guys, the 55 of Robbie Gordon is in. He said, if I'm the first one to come down pit road, take the time to give me 4. We'll fill it full of fuel and see where we come out. I can't believe you called Robbie Gordon a gambler, Andy. Robbie Gordon? Heck yeah, on a road course.
He is a gambler.
And there's Justin Allgaier coming off pit lane. Kenny Wallace also made a stop here. Hood going up on one car over on the left side. That's the 81 of Sean Murphy. So they've got some issues there. We can tell you right now, Vickers and Mike Bliss are the only two that are behind the wall. There is Vickers, as he has made the journey back from the medical center. And Jamie, I think you've got him.
And Brian Vickers, he had problems in practice with the transmission. Same issue, Brian.
Yeah, it was. Frustrated is not the word for it. It's just not been our weekend. I thought we had it fixed. We changed transmissions. It just stuck in third gear again. I went to downshift going into one, and it just wouldn't downshift, and it was just locked in gear, and I couldn't do anything with it. And you know, the 20 car got into us. It wasn't his fault. I told my spotter to tell him, you know, and it wasn't his fault. We just locked in gear. I hate it. We had a really fast car. The tires were just starting to come around to us, and end there today.
Tough day ended early. Good news is Brian Vickers will be back in the 32 next weekend. Marty?
All right, thanks for the update. Now let's go back to the start of the race, because we're talking about how much abuse, you know, the transmission gets when going through the downshift sequence. Let's go on board with Boris Said. And DJ, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, this is as they're getting ready to start. You can see he's got left foot on the brake at this point. He's getting ready to get the gas. See, he does that. Now he's going to go to third gear. Change gears. He's going to get down here. Watch this car get a little bit loose right here. Yeah, that's locking up. That doesn't help the transmission or rear end gear any right there. and now he's going to start up through the S's. He's going to change gears. Just a lot of abuse as we go through, and it only gets worse as things heat up throughout the day.
And Boris right now running in the 8th position. Kevin Harvick, Mr. Ambrose, Marcus is 2nd, Scott Speed is 3rd, Kyle Busch is up to 4th, Denny Hamlin rounds out your top 5. Stay with us. We're only 11 laps into this race, and we've had a little bit of everything. Some humor, some great racing action, a couple of spins, and, well, some hard passes in some very difficult spots, and some tough breaks for some very good racers like Brian Vickers. But with 11 laps down, here's Kevin Harvick, our one and only leader. Gives us a quick moment to talk about the motorsports calendar. I want to remind you, next week, the Carfax 250 at Michigan. It's Saturday, August 15th, 3 Eastern on ESPN2. And then it's Sprint Cup Series action at Watkins Glen tomorrow, 1 Eastern, over on ESPN. NASCAR Now tomorrow, presented by 5 Hour Energy. The only thing you have to remember is 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. That's the 2 times you'll be able to see it on ESPN2. And then the Roundtable, presented by Home Depot. That's Monday, 5 Eastern on ESPN2. So gives you an idea of how much motorsports coverage we have coming your way. Got word that the 15 is going to have to go to the back of the line because he was too fast out of pit lane. And let's also show you what Boris said is doing to save fuel. Let's go on board.
Get over there if you want me to.
Okay, these guys are trying every trick in the book to try to save fuel. You see here, there's keep it in high gear and coasting down through there. Dave, what are these guys doing to try to save fuel?
Okay, 2 laps. He's cutting the motor off right there, and you could do that for a couple of different reasons. One, to get to the next fuel window, which I'll tell you about in a minute, but also to know how much fuel you could save during the final run, which is the most important one. Now, he is not saving fuel so he can get to his next stop, because that may be as soon as 1 lap after we go green, guys.
During the break, we saw him shutting it off as long as 25 seconds on that nice long downhill run. Have you ever been able to calculate how much that saves you?
Well, no. I can say they've come up with a lot more tricks in the last few years on how to save fuel. Obviously, if you're turning the switch off, you're not using any fuel.
All right, let's reset it for you. It's Harvick, Ambrose, Speed, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin. That's your top 5, and Harvick has selected the inside for the restart. And here we go. We talked about double file restarts, and there's a couple areas. Turn 1, up through the S's, and then down at the bus stop chicane. So 3 spots. We're going to be holding our breath, and whoa, what a great start for Harvick.
Almost a replay of the start of the race.
Yeah, and Ambrose was trying to get it in behind Harvick, but Scott Speed actually filled that space, and it made Ambrose drive down in there and almost go to the outside of Harvick.
Now Ambrose taking a look underneath. Can he get it done? No. A couple of cars off on the backside. They're okay. They continue. Up through the S's. Everybody thinks a little calmer and falls into line.
Scott Speed actually loses a spot to the 18 car, Kyle Busch.
Yep. Move Busch up to 3rd. Speed back to 4th. In 5th place, you got Denny Hamlin. Ron Fellows behind, and here we go. One more treacherous spot. Whoa, Ryan Newman sneaks under in the 1 car. He's still got some action going on back there. They manage to sort it out. Here comes Marcus Ambrose.
He wants to lead.
And he's going to.
We're wrecking over in the inner loop.
Uh-oh, we've got the 55 of Robbie Gordon. He is off in the gravel trap over on the bus stop chicane, and it looks like the 61 involved.
That's a way to bust that strategy right there, running off the racetrack. You don't want that to happen. Now he's already got damage on the car.
Yeah, they both do. In fact, they almost look like carbon copies. Both of them, look at it, the left rear quarter panel on both of them sticking out like an airfoil. Let's go back and take another look, guys.
We're still under green here also. See what happens. Like Robbie gets into the back of the 61, tried to get to the gas a little quicker.
I'm wondering if Biffle got into the back of Robbie, because look, that's where he gets his damage in the left rear.
Yeah, I think they were both just being held up a little more.
All right, let's go back to the battle for the lead, because we are lean, mean, and still green. It's Marcus Ambrose, Harvick, Kyle Busch. So Ambrose takes over the race lead, becomes our 2nd leader. Look at this as Fellows almost gets pinched off. He's got the preferred inside line on Scott Speed. Little tire smoke from Denny Hamlin. Everybody's sorting it out again.
He saw Scott Speed try to protect that spot, but he just couldn't do it. Fellows was already all the way up on his door.
He had that, and he's one of the best at outbraking someone into that part of the racetrack.
Yeah. On board with Ron Fellows, the 5-time winner here at the Glen. 3 in the Nationwide Series, 2 in the Camping World. Down through turn 10, Ambrose right in front. You see the top three coming right at you into turn 11. Marcus, of course, the race winner here last year.
Kevin Harvick not letting him get very far away. I wonder if Kevin got enough heat in his tires. That was a long caution. It was just like as he went through the bus stop, made it a little bit difficult for him. See, Boris said, our in-race reporter on the pit road, another strategy here, Andy.
Gas only and a wedge adjustment for your left-hander.
Okay, they're just going to put fuel in, make one quick adjustment, back out on the track.
Now we're working lap 15 of 82, Dave Burns.
And remember, after he leaves, they will measure how much fuel they got into the car, and they'll know, because he was saving fuel, how much of that strategy they can employ at the end of the race. No tires changed for him. Sunoco fuel going in for Boris said. It's full, and he's off pit road, this on lap 14.
And thanks to Justin Fiedler, because he gave us a great view of the fuel going in, because the NASCAR official got in the way of our other shot. Yeah, keep that little car below the line.
Okay, here's one other good advantage of making this kind of strategy. He can get out here and run an open racetrack, Boris can, and make good lap times. He's not held up by traffic.
And here are the race leaders coming around to turn 11, so that gives you just an idea how far back Boris really is going to be. But as you pointed out, and here comes Kyle Busch, he's making the turn down pit lane. If we get a yellow now, those guys end up cycling through to the front. 35 miles an hour pit lane speed. Kyle coming in on lap 16 of 82.
I'm a little surprised they're not changing tires for a number of reasons, but it shows how good the tire must be to these guys as they're able to continue on just putting fuel in these things. Dave?
Lap 15 for Kyle Busch. He will take 4 fresh tires with his Sunoco fuel, and that is a wedge adjustment. The car at the beginning of the race is a little loose on the right, a little tight in the left, but it was coming back to him as the run progressed. Crew going to work in the opposite direction, as Jamie explained at the start of the show. They do a good job, and Kyle leaves.
So 14 laps for Boris said, 15 for Kyle, and here is the race lead as they are making their way towards turn number 10. It is Ambrose and Harvick, almost nose to tail. Denny Hamlin's fallen back about 2.2 seconds. Ron Fellows is now 4th, and Scott Speed is 5th. We can tell you now that the 07 of Zakaris has made his way behind the wall, so Chris is out of this race, it looks like. He's listed as off, and the 41 also has pulled behind the wall. That's Tom Hubert. So with Vickers and Bliss, that brings our car count to 4. Down into turn number 1 one more time. Ambrose continues to lead. Joey Logano is now going to come into pit lane. He's coming down on lap 17 as we're working. So he's actually gone 16 laps. And Dave, it looks like it's going to be the Dave Burns show here for a while.
You know, it's okay. Joey Logano told me earlier today that this track was a pain in the butt sometimes because it's got so many turns and so many places he can go wrong. So far, other than the tap on the 32 of Vickers, it's gone right for him so far. A little bit of a hood crease. His car was loose at the start of the day. They may make an air pressure adjustment for that. They've also got a wrench to work on the car. That's already been in and out of the rear window. Very full of Sunoco fuel. That vent tube working. And he leaves pit road, guys.
Saw the time on the clock. He'll get back out onto the racetrack, and here we go one more time. Coming into turn 10, the 47 of Marcus Ambrose. So again, all these guys that are pitting early, if we get a caution here all of a sudden, it is a huge benefit for all of them.
Yeah, because what happens if the caution flies right now and you see Marcus Ambrose and Kevin Harvick come down pit road, they will line up behind Kyle Busch and Boris said.
Have to give a salute to the 98 of Paul Menard. I mean, he has had a yeoman's day. Remember, he had problems in qualifying. He started back in the 39th position. He has picked up 22 positions already. He is up to 17th. There is Brendan Gaughan right behind him, and Brad Keselowski.
Who said you couldn't pass on a road course? Paul Menard showing them you can.
He's got a good run going, DJ.
Yeah, he sure does. He's done a great job of getting around cars. He's taking advantage, obviously, some of these guys making pit stops, but he's doing a really good job. Jamie?
Michael McDowell is actually in the 26th this weekend. Heck of a qualifying effort. You see him trying to pull out and actually hammer out that right front. He had some damage earlier, guys, but it's good to see Michael McDowell trying to keep it in the points.
All right, thanks for the update, and you can see that damage on the right front. They're going to put a little tape on it. Now, let's go back and show you the pit stop on the 20.
These pit stops are backwards, and sometimes it throws your timing off. You saw the tire changer jump over the wall a little bit too soon. You can't do that until that car is one pit away. He's going to be penalized and make a pass-through penalty. He'll be lucky if he can make that penalty stop without going down a lap.
Here comes Denny Hamlin and Ron Fellows. Now, let's show you what happens.
Ron Fellows coming in right here. You'll see when the pit crew comes over. They can come over one pit away. See, that car just crossed over the threshold of the pit behind them. Coming down there to you, Shannon.
Yeah, Ron Fellows, a three-time winner here. He just said that he would like the air pressure to be a little bit higher in those tires at the start of the run, so they're going to make an air pressure adjustment and 4 tires for Ron Fellows in that 5 Junior Motorsports car.
So here we have some guys that are taking fresh rubber, DJ, and there you can see coming back out, Denny Hamlin, Jeff Burton, Ron Fellows. There's Ryan Newman further back in the 1 in the Mikasuki car. Also, Stephen Wallace was in for this stop here on lap number 19 of 82. So already we're seeing a variety of strategies. And here come the race leaders out of turn number 11, and they now have a 7-second lead.
Next time.
You saw that right there. Those cars that just pitted were the ones that were the farthest back in that running order, and they were in danger of going down a lap. But you'll see these other cars right here, Marcus Ambrose and Kevin Harvick, in, I'm sure, the next lap or two.
That was Marcus Ambrose's radio saying pit next time, so it looks like they are.
Time coming. Coming to you.
Well, we've got another penalty coming in for the 86 of Antonio Perez. He just made his stop. He has gone a lap down, and we had a guy over the wall too soon again. Here's Brendan Gaughan in for his first pit stop. Vince?
You see them going over to the right side tires, making the change to 4 tires. This is Gaughan's first start here at Watkins Glen, and this is a team that they know coming in. They want to put it on the truck all in one piece, get the best they can out of their day with both the 62 and the 66, keeping it realistic as you see the 20 making his pass through.
And he's about halfway down pit lane, and we're wondering if he's going to be able to stay on the lead lap.
You're 15 away.
The only reason he will stay on the lead lap is because these 2 leaders are coming down pit road. You see Ambrose is in. He's down to you, Jamie.
Marcos Ambrose, first time in this car this year. He said the brakes were making a little bit of noise. Car was pretty good, just a tad tight, 4 tires. No adjustments for this 47, guys.
So it looks like he's going to get the rubber all the way around, and he's back out. Dave?
Kevin Harvick has said nothing about his race car and the fact that it kept up with Marcus Ambrose the way it did. Very good for him. They will take on 4 fresh tires, no chassis adjustments, full of fuel. His team car this weekend, J.R. Fitzpatrick, will come in behind him. 4 tires as well for Fitzpatrick, whose car was a little bit tight. Harvick is off of pit road, guys.
And Ambrose gets him coming off of pit lane. So Marcus Ambrose. And where is Kyle Busch? And we're looking for the blend line there. You can see, whoa, got a car getting a little hot back through there. It's the 81. We need to reverse that. The 18. There he is, right there.
18. You see, those guys were able to stay out there and run some pretty fast laps and get themselves separated from Kyle Busch because those 3 cars were right together.
Heading down towards the bus stop.
You know, Kyle's had to encounter some traffic trying to get around some guys after he pitted. Marcus Ambrose and Kevin Harvick didn't encounter any traffic as we have Scott Speed in to make his stop. Jamie?
Said his car was just a little bit snug, went up 1 round on the track bar, 4 tires for Scott Speed in his first start here at Watkins Glen.
See, just a little hiccup on the jack man on that stop. 17.2. That's going to cost Scott Speed a little bit of track position.
And we talked about this before the start of the race. This is the only time of the year when everything's reversed for these guys.
Yeah, it's just not a natural rhythm for the pit crews. They have to think about it and adjust. And here you see Marcus Ambrose. Right behind him is Kevin Harvick. Now you see the 18 car coming into the picture. Kyle Busch. Now these cars have all made their pit stops. And you still have cars out on the track that have not made their stops.
Kyle Busch is about 9 seconds behind those two guys that he was on their bumper.
Well, right now, as it stands,
well, you see David Reagan is in the top 5. He made his pit stop. We saw that, or he was the first one to make his stop.
And there is your new race leader as Carl Edwards assumes the lead, and he could be making his way towards pit lane. Nope, he's going to stay out one more time. Stay with us. Jimmy Johnson's going to start on the pole for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series here at Watkins Glen. Our coverage begins tomorrow, 1 Eastern on ESPN with NASCAR Countdown presented by Degree V12. We talked a little bit about strategy regarding the 47 of Marcus Ambrose and when he made his pit stop. Remember that the top 4 right now, Carl Edwards, Paul Menard, Greg Biffle, and Brad Keselowski, all pitted on lap number 10.
Yeah, we talked about gamblers, and this is what is at stake. They gained all this track position by making that pit stop under caution, and gambling they're going to be able to make it on one more stop. Now, this will work great if they can. But if they cannot make it and they have to make an extra pit stop, it'll ruin their day. But right now, it looks really good for Carl Edwards. Paul Menard running second. What a great job that team's done so far.
From 39th.
Yeah, from 39th spot. Greg Biffle sitting there running 3rd. Brad Keselowski 4th. And David Reagan right there in 5th.
Well, and you can see a little bit of damage on Biffle's car.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of damage on the right side of that thing, man.
Vince, you got more on the 16th?
Well, that damage came from the contact with Robbie Gordon when Robbie Gordon in the 61 got off track, damage there behind the right front. At first they thought maybe they had a tire rub, but then figured out that wasn't the case. But Biffle does say that it is getting some air and he can feel that. But the good news is they haven't had to come in and pit because of it. Shannon.
Vince, for the 98 of Paul Menard, we were talking about some of the strategy. Lap 10 is when they came down for fuel, and they did make a chassis adjustment. So he was working on the handling of that car, but he is on older tires than the rest of the guys who recently came down and took 4 tires. But this is a pretty good run for Paul Menard, starting in the back of the field, moving his way up, and the strategy's playing right into their hands right now.
All right, thanks for the update, Shannon. There's a great look at the number 98. Can tell you 2 more cars are behind the wall. The 86 of Antonio Perez, the 0 of Mike Wallace. So we have 2 more out of the race. All right, check in on number 5. That is Ron Fellows. And Fellows, a lap or so ago, going into the bus stop chicane, he jacked up the 29, and it may have created an issue. Take a look here.
Yeah, they were racing hard up through here. And you see a little bit of contact.
Watch that 09. Oh, sorry about that.
Checked up.
Clear by 10 behind you. Plenty of room.
Shannon, what's the report?
Well, right now the 5 guys are down here scrambling a little bit. They were going to bring Ron Fellows down pit road because he's having some temperature issues. Now, earlier in the race, right around lap 5, he did come over the radio and said that he was running a little hot at about 2:45. It did cool down since then, but right now the temperature is starting to spike a little bit for Ron Fellows. So they're talking about bringing him down and possibly removing some tape from the front of that grill. But right now they are in standby mode.
All right, so Fellows.
You know, when you get that kind of damage in the front, it may not show up much from here, but it can do a lot of damage behind that grill. You see how it smashed the front of the hood down and that top part of the grill? That can really cause you a lot of problems, can't it, Tim?
Yeah, Andy, because what we try to do, we try to utilize the full surface of the radiator to cool the engine. But when you drive up under a car, you've got an aluminum panel that runs out to the nose of the car. So if you push this area down and covers part of the radiator, the water temperature is going to go extremely high. But you have to utilize all of it to cool the engine properly with tape on the nose of the car.
Great explanation, and you can see it so well there. And there you can see the damage right on the nose where he got up underneath Jeff Burton just a little bit earlier. Now, here is the 60 once again. Now, Edwards has opened up a 4.8-second lead over Paul Menard. Is Menard trying to breathe the car here, or is it just Edwards is that much better?
It might be Edwards is that much better, but you wouldn't really need to be, or you couldn't hardly save fuel right now. You got to run fast laps, and they're going to count on caution laps to extend this range if they need it.
Good battle going on right there. Greg Biffle in 3rd. Brad Keselowski would like to take it away from him. Of course, remember last week, Brad had the single largest payday in Nationwide Series history. He won the $75,000 bonus for the Dash for Cash from Nationwide Insurance, and that was $154,000 and change. As remember, we had the 12 car of Justin Allgaier early in the race, was a little bit under the weather, so to speak. Let's get an update. What's he saying, Vince?
Well, he's feeling fine physically and feeling pretty good about his race car as well. He had never, Justin Allgaier had never seen this race course before arriving here this weekend. Took a few laps in the pace car at the beginning of the weekend. Says he's been like a sponge all weekend long, getting information. Every time he goes out for a lap, he feels like he learned something new, but he's having a little issue through the course of the weekend with approaching the corners, when to decelerate, when to brake, when to turn, as you see Gordon going around him on the outside. But for Allgaier, just wants to have a good, solid run and learn today. Dave?
Robbie Gordon in your mirrors is a good time to decelerate and let him go by. Remember that damage he got when he wrecked with the 61 car with help from the 16? They reasoned that he wouldn't need to come down pit road, so they did not. And remember the fuel strategy that he is on. One of the guys that pitted under the lap 10 caution took on 4 tires and fuel, so they can get to, around lap 45 or so before they'll have to come in again and plan the end of their race. Right now, as far as that goes, they've talked about it. They think they're in a good position.
Well, Robbie was one to pit on lap 10. There's Marcus Ambrose with his hands full with Kenny Wallace right now, and Ambrose pitted on lap 20.
Well, it's different strategies, and if Carl and them are having to save some fuel up there, Marcus Ambrose, even though was a little over 20 seconds back, he's beating them by somewhere between 3/4 of a second and a second a lap as he goes by Kenny Wallace here. So he's still going to outrun them before the end of the day. Jamie?
I'll tell you, he's quick right now, DJ, but he is worried about the motor and overheating. They have a lot of tape remaining on that grill. The first stop, they pulled some on the right side, but he's telling his guys, I'm worried. His crew chief said, hey, if it's not spewing water, don't worry about it.
I love crew chiefs. Don't worry.
Well, you'd be surprised how hot these things will run. As long as they keep the fluid in the radiator and in the cooling system, they'll run extremely hot with no problems.
He's about 18.5 seconds behind the race leader, Carl Edwards. We've had 4 different leaders right now and 3 lead changes. And we eavesdropped, as you can see. He's getting around. You notice that Vickers has gotten back out onto the racetrack after being cleared, so that's good news for Brian. Let's listen in on Carl's radio.
Get a good look at that 47's line. Anybody who sees anything different from mine, let me know and I'll work on it. 10-4.
He knows Ambrose is fast back there, and he wants to try to see if he can pick something up, and maybe not just for today, maybe for tomorrow's race as well.
Yeah, and I don't know that it's got that much to do with the line. I mean, all of these guys can kind of see that where they're running and what you're doing, and there's only so much you can do. I think that it comes from inside the race car. Marcus Ambrose is just so smooth and so fast in there. He knows what he wants with his car, and he's pointed his guys in that direction, and they've got it handling like he wants.
So Carl, right now, 4.3 seconds leading over Paul Menard. Brad Keselowski's 3rd. Greg Biffle 5th, 4th, and Robbie Gordon 5th. All of them pitted back on lap 10.
Carl Edwards leads the Zippo 200 for the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Watkins Glen International in New York. Former series champs got a 1-second lead. It should be a 4-second lead on second place Paul Menard. And more importantly, he's got a lead on Marcos Ambrose, who was the early leader, but on a different pit strategy of 16 seconds. Ambrose running in 8th place right now. We'll look at our holiday and race summary. Kevin Harvick led the opening 12 laps. Ambrose 13 through 19. And then on the exchange of strategy, Edwards went out front and has been out in front ever since. Only 1 caution in the race so far. Jamie, some problems on the 1 car?
Ryan Newman pulled in and he said he had no fuel pressure. They tried to pack it full, still nothing. He stayed in his pit box about 2 minutes and finally just said, let me go. So we're going to watch and see what happens with this 1 car, guys.
And we'll see if Ryan Newman's got enough steam to get out there and compete in this one, but he's in 36th place, 2 laps down. In the pit studio with Rusty and Brad. So we got basically 2 different stop schedules going here. Carl Edwards heads the group of guys who pitted under caution at lap 10. And then Marcos Ambrose and Kevin Harvick stopped under green at lap 20.
The Roush guys are so smart out there, Alan. I've seen these guys before, stretched for fuel mileage a long, long time. We saw it at Homestead, Florida at the very end of the year where Jack Roush was out there guiding them through what kind of RPM needed to turn to save fuel. I like what they're doing. I like when they pitted on lap 10 and kept herself out there. They got the track position now they're leading the race. I really think this strategy is going to work good for them.
See, I think the law of averages will catch up. I think there'll be more cautions, and with that, you're going to put Ambrose and Harvick right back in the mix. They're the 2 fastest cars on the racetrack consistently, and it's interesting. We've got 31 cars on the lead lap, and it's separated from first to 31 by over a minute. That tells you there's a lot of disparity in the field.
That caution you were talking about, Ryan Newman didn't have any steam when he left pit road. That is just off the S's at the entrance to the backstretch. He looks like he is stopped and out of power, and a full course caution is out. And that 16-second lead that Carl Edwards had over Marcos Ambrose, guys in the booth, is gone.
And everything changes once again. That's what's great about road course.
It does. It just helps Carl Edwards and his team extend their range and make sure that they can make it on one more stop. But the flip side of that is it lets Marcos Ambrose catch right back up to him, and he's got a fast race car.
Yeah, they lost every advantage they had on him, and that was, I think, their one hope in trying to keep Marcos Ambrose and Kevin Harvick from just totally dominating this race. They're going to be back on their strategies now. They're still going to pit. It's not like they're going to come in now or anything, so they'll just make those stops under green whenever they know that they can make it from that point.
About lap 45, 46, 47 is when you'll start seeing those stops from the cars that pitted on lap 10. And you probably see if the other cars, even Marcos Ambrose, if they can make it that far, they'll come in a lot sooner than they did that first stop.
And they'll even be saving fuel right here because that allows them to back that up even more by saving some fuel right at this point in time.
Oh, the tangled webs we weave as far as fuel strategy on a road course. There you see the stranded #1 of Ryan Newman, as he was not able to make it around.
That's why I tried to tell you a while ago that the driver can't have anything to do with this strategy, because there's no way that you can drive the race car around 11 turns and keep up with what's going on as far as these different strategies go.
Well, we can tell you that we'll have our first lucky dog of the day. The Aaron's lucky dog will go to the 01 of Danny O'Quinn, as he'll get 1 lap back, and that will end up putting a total of 31 cars back on the lead lap. We were at 31, but then, of course, Newman had his problem, so the 01 of Danny will get to come around. I'm not seeing a lot of guys all psyched up about pitting as I look down across from our vantage point. There you see the push truck trying to get the 1 back. He's all the way down the backstretch. This is going to take a little while.
You have to wonder a little bit why they went back out there. If all they did was come in and put fuel in it, they didn't have fuel pressure. Why that would have? How that would have?
Well, I thought
fuel
maybe
pressure back.
I guess it started back up, and the only way to find out is to drive away.
Divine intervention, maybe. This is our second caution, and our first one was for 4 laps, and it'll be a question of whether or not there will have any takers. Now it looks like Boris Said's crew.
Well, Boris Said is pretty far back. He's 19th out of the 30 cars on the lead lap. He may come in and make a pit stop just to get tires, but he's still going to have to make yet another one. So well, Brad Parrott's probably just he's just bluffing.
Well, he stopped on lap 14. So he can go longer if he wants to.
Yeah, but I think he's got some type of problem with this car. We saw he would be the one that really jammed up Jeff Burton and Ron Fellows there in the chicane, and so apparently he's had some issue with this car, and it may be, you know, when they just changed tires.
Staying out.
Pit lane is open. Race leader is going to stay out. You can see Carl.
You see Brian Vickers coming in. You see, they're going to have to run a special down pit road if they're going to entice any of these people to come down. He's the leader.
Yeah, you can go back to where you were.
Yeah, look at Marcos Ambrose. Yeah, right.
Yeah, Marcus took a look, said, nah, I think better of it.
He was trying to see if he could get Harvick in.
That is Justin Allgaier, the 12 that did come down pit lane. We're looking to see if we have any other takers. Yep, Boris Said is going to be a taker.
Boris, like I said, the only reason he would pit here is if he's got a problem. We'll see what they do on this stop.
We're going to go over the wall with Justin Fiedler. He'll be the rear tire changer on the 09. They'll make their way down 35 miles an hour to their pit stall. Tony Raines is in with the 34. Jeffrey Earnhardt in the 40. Morgan Shepherd.
The only way it makes any sense to make a pit stop right here is if you were at the very back of the line.
Here we go.
Here they go. They're going to change 4 tires.
On me, okay? You will go on me. Okay.
Front side off. Get us 5 on. Go, Boris, go!
Go, 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 go. Go, go, go.
And here's the plan for Boris from here. No problem on the car, Andy. He wanted the fresh rubber, so when they stop for the final time in maybe 10 laps, they won't have to put on new tires. He'll save them for now. They'll take on fuel only. What do you think? Put that in your strategy book.
Yeah, he just had to give up quite a few spots to take those tires. He was gambling on maybe some other cars coming behind him, but once you get to that break point of about 19th, 20th, that's not a bad place to pit from.
So you can see they're doing the calculations in the pit, and we'll find out as this inning continues to unfold here at the Glen. The view from high above here at Watkins Glen International as we are under our second caution. We've had 7 laps. We'll understand why and explain why that's so important. Lights are out in the pace car. Let's quickly talk to our in-race reporter.
Hey, Boris, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy? Hey, Boris, Dale Jarrett, ESPN, you have a copy?
How you doing, Dale?
I'm pretty good. How about yourself, man?
We're a little tight and a little cramped up, but we're going to try some different pit strategy and just make a quick stop under green and see if we can run these tires 45 laps.
How difficult is it passing out there, Boris?
Passing's not too bad. I mean, I'm kind of saving my brakes for the end because this place is really tough on brakes, so hopefully we'll have a lot of car at the end of the race.
All right, so we'll keep a camera on you if you're saving those brakes, huh?
Trying to save them.
All right, good luck, man.
Thank you.
And let's update you. We have 7 cars either off or out of the race. Mark Green is now listed as out. We're going to take one more quick break before we go back to green. Getting ready to go back to green flag racing. Our race leader, Carl Edwards, has chosen driver's right. You can see him there alongside is Paul Menard, who started 39th and is on the outside of row number 1 here. Behind him, Brad Keselowski, Robbie Gordon, Greg Biffle. All those guys pitted back on lap number 10.
The guy we want to watch is in that orange car behind Greg Biffle, and that 47, Marcus Ambrose. He and Kevin Harvick definitely have the 2 fastest cars on the racetrack.
On board with Marcus.
See Greg Biffle giving Robbie Gordon a little break right there to be able to get back in line.
Up through the S's, 2 abreast. It's a little dicey sometimes.
Yeah, let's see if 47, if he can get close enough to outbreak Greg Biffle getting in. Greg's trying to protect that inside line already.
And there is Harvick trying to get around the 18 of Kyle Busch. Biffle holds off the 47. Everybody making it through okay so far.
This is a huge break for Kyle Busch, too. He was even further behind than what Ambrose and Kevin Harvick were, so this allowed him to catch up, and he has a fast car.
Kyle's pit strategy, his last pit stop was on lap 15.
You see that 55 car hood flapping in the breeze. They may have to address that on his pit stop.
So Ambrose taking a look. Sometimes you try to get yourself just outside the other guy's mirror. Here he comes in turn 11.
He's got it.
Yeah, really made a nice move. But Biffle's going to try to come back to the inside. But I think he pretty much knows that Ambrose is faster. He's just going to try to not let anybody else get by him.
Well, we've seen several guys try to make that pass in 11. Marcus was the first one to pull it off. Down into 1. And he's pulling away from the 16.
You can see in that shot just how much he drove his car down in the corner and got on the brakes later than Greg Biffle.
Right now it's Edwards, Menard, Keselowski, Robbie Gordon in 4th, Ambrose in 5th, and you're right, that hood is starting to flap more and more. Look at it going down the backstretch.
They're going to have to address that before the end of the race. Probably the next pit stop, they're going to have to get a pin or get some tape, something on there, because it's going to get worse and worse as they go.
See, Ambrose is already to the back bumper of Robbie Gordon. We watch some of the rest of the guys come through here.
There's Joey Logano, Stephen Wallace. That's a battle for position as well. Logano is 17th. On board with Stephen there for the moment. Back to the race leaders. And we can point out there, you can see David Reagan has been passed by the 18, so Kyle Busch will move up a spot to 7th.
That seems to be the one thing as we watch Kyle Busch and Marcus Ambrose. They seem to be able to make passes a little bit better and easier than Kevin Harvick. A lot of cows
right there.
They are going to have to take some evasive action down pit lane. And now the question is, they're all over pit speed. Is NASCAR going to have to penalize?
If they'll go back down to pit road speed and continue down pit road, they will not be penalized. If they carry that speed all the way down, NASCAR will bring them back in.
Yeah, they just ask them to maintain a safe speed. You don't have to go all the way totally down to it, but you could see those guys were slowing down, so I think that everybody's going to be okay.
Well, it's going to cost Stephen Wallace and all those guys several positions as they had to take evasive action. Let's go back and see what's happening with Marcus Ambrose as he has got Robbie Gordon right in front of him, and now not only does Robbie's front hood flap, the back bumper's flapping.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about the back bumper because if that falls off, it's no big deal except for the debris that might be on the track. But if this hood flies up, it'll fly up right in his face and he won't be able to see a thing.
I got to be honest, I've seen him drive off-road with a hood sticking right up in his face.
For the lead
he
here.
just looks out the window.
Look at Paul Menard.
Yeah, Paul Menard coming after Carl Edwards. Back at the front of the field. Here they come down the front straightaway. Is Paul going to take a look inside? No, but Robbie sure is. He's looking underneath Keselowski. They got to make some room, and so far so good.
He's still after him, though. He'd like to get to that spot, but can't quite do it before they get to turn 2.
Up through the S's. I love that shot. The way the cars just sort of slide on out. As long as they don't slide all the way to the Armco. Down the backstretch now, and you can see that the top 5 are starting to open up some air over 6th place, Greg Biffle.
See, Ambrose, he really has a fast car. He's wanting to get by these guys. He is really driving this thing hard right now, right on the bumper of Robbie Gordon. See him move out, going to try to get a run off of this corner, see if he can get to him as they get to turn 10.
Just got to be very patient right here because he's got a great car. He doesn't want to do anything to hurt that. Doesn't want to push the issue too much with Robbie.
This seems to be where Paul Menard's a little bit better too, as we see Kyle Busch take another spot away there from Greg Biffle. That moves him up into the 6th spot.
Look at Paul Menard inside
trying this again.
Hang on, here we go, coming through turn 11. Can't get it done.
And now Paul's going to have to guard that inside, as you see Brad Keselowski trying to make the pass on him. Swings back to the outside. That could cost Brad Keselowski a spot.
Side by side through 1, the 80. Whoa, and Carl goes wide. Maybe he shouldn't be looking out the back so much.
Yeah, he said, man, that's a good race back behind me.
Here comes Keselowski as he holds off Menard now. So he got Brad 2nd place, Menard 3rd. Then you've got Robbie Gordon with that flapping hood still going. And look at it, Ambrose and Kyle Busch all in the mix. Here we go, 3 wide. Something's got to give.
Yeah, and as a driver, this is what you really hate. You got to have a little space, and then it allows these other guys to get up to your bumper, and then that's when things really start happening.
Yeah, Ambrose is going to have to make something happen here because he's got that 18 car putting pressure on him now.
So Menard slides back another spot as Robbie Gordon aggressively gets around.
Now you see the guys in here trying to change that fuel pump cable on the 1 car. That's what they've diagnosed this problem as being. So they're going to change it and see if they can get this car back out on the track.
See, just a lap ago at this spot right here, Paul Menard was trying to take the lead, and as they come back around, he's in the 4th spot now.
And what it's all meant is Carl Edwards has opened up a bit of a lead. Not that much, though. As you can see coming down, here comes Brad as he tries to reel him back in. Robbie Gordon, a few car lengths back. That is slower traffic in front. That's Justin Marks in the 10, as he was involved in an incident just a few moments ago, and he's trying to keep from going a lap down. Take you back and show you what happened here. 27 to Jason Keller there.
And Keller gets a little tap from Stephen Wallace, and he goes up and gets a little tap on Marks.
And he is in 31st place right now, the last car on the lead lap, and trying to hang on for dear life to not go a lap down. He'd love to see a caution right now. We are past the halfway mark at 42 of 82 laps complete. The strategies are still unfolding. It's Carl Edwards up front. We're under our 3rd caution here at the Zippo 200, and that's the reason why. And you're looking at Paul Menard in the 98. He is up to his axle, and that is in the bus stop chicane. And what was looking like a brilliant run all of a sudden has gone south.
Yeah, you can see as he gets beside Brad Keselowski here, goes across the curbing, and there's nowhere to go but out in the gravel. And that is a frustrating feeling. Unfortunately, I'm speaking from experience and watch from the onboard here. He just tried to outbrake Brad into this corner. Thought he could get a little bit more room, but he runs across. Brad has just doing what he has to do.
And that's the worst thing to do.
No, there's just no way out of that.
Well, you know, he's had 5 prior road course races. He was 4th here in 07. 3 of those he finished in the top 10, but it's not going to happen here as they're dragging him out, and he's already gone.
Yeah, he was just battling for the lead, though. That's the bad thing. He was trying to pass Carl Edwards.
One of the guys that got a very big break here. Remember when David Reagan pitted right before our first caution? Guess what? He pitted right before this one came out, so this could benefit him. We are also going to see some other guys that they're going to have to stop now.
Well, I think you're going to see a lot of leaders on pit road on this caution flag, and that's going to move David Reagan all the way in front of them. So that was a great strategy call. If they can make 39 laps, that's what they're going to have to do, the 6 car is, to make it to the end of the race.
Now, these guys that will be coming now, they're anticipating being able to go from here also, Andy, with some caution.
There is. This is the window that they were looking for, that 37 laps to go, and that's what it'll be when they come down pit road. That's going to put, you know, everybody right on the edge, but they'll all come down.
Yeah, and Michael McDowell is going to get the Aaron's Lucky Dog free pass. That'll give us 32 cars on the lead lap as Paul Menard is back out underway. So they drug him out, and he's able to continue, although a little worse for wear.
Yeah, definitely some damage on the left side of left front and door of that car.
Did you see the other thing? He also dropped a few stones out there, which are, hopefully they'll sweep up, because that wouldn't be fun sliding through that stuff.
He'll drop a few of those for a little while. Here they come.
All right, here they come. Carl Edwards, your race leader. Robbie Gordon right behind him. Brad Keselowski. Oh, it's just everybody. Jamie, I'm sending them your way.
And Marcos Ambrose in the 47 actually thinks they're going to be about 3 or 4 laps short, but they had to come. They're going to pull the fenders out, pull the tape off that nose because his car was getting hot, and 4 tires. Vince?
Brad Keselowski in the 88, despite his lack of road course experience, they've been very solid all weekend. A testament to crew chief Tony Urey Sr., who's given Brad a great car, and Brad's tenacity on the track. 4 tires, no changes. Shannon?
Vince, Carl Edwards says he does not have the best car yet. He needs overall grip, air pressure, 4 tires. They're going to pack that baby full of fuel. They say they are in their window. Dave?
4 tires and fuel for Robbie Gordon. Matt Struve, the front tire carrier, put a piece of tape on there. Now he's going to hammer it down and hope that that stays for Robbie. Morris is in his way. Robbie loses positions on pit road.
Man, did it become a log jam at pit out, and I'm not sure they got that 55 hood down. Take a look at the race off pit road. Nemechek took no tires.
See, Bohr said same thing. He stayed on his strategy. He picked up a lot of spots, 9 spots.
Yep, picked up 9. It moves him 7th coming out of pit lane. Kyle Busch picked up 4, and there is Kyle. And Joe coming right behind him. And take a look. There's the 60, the 47, and man, everybody.
A lot of traffic. They finally did run that special on pit road, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, we can also tell you that Justin Allgaier got tapped and sent into the 16 car. Greg Biffle, they're all out there, but it cost them both some positions.
One lap away from the restart. You see the field doubling up here at Watkins Glen International after the 3rd caution that really threw the strategy curve to this one. Kyle Busch first off pit lane. That's huge. He gained 4 spots on the pit stops, but then that guy right in front of him there in that 6 car, David Reagan, was on pit road just before the caution fell. My, how things have come around for them today, Vince.
Well, that's for sure. Come in twice, and the yellows have fallen your way both times. Now the big question is, Mike, can you go the rest of the way on fuel?
We're really close right now. If we had 1 caution, we'd be definitely to the good. David's done a great job today. We worked real hard on fuel mileage yesterday in a car that would be really good on the long run, so we could set ourselves up to do that. The discount tire Ford's been really good today, and David's done an excellent job. I don't know if we have a chance to beat some of these guys or some really fast cars out here, but we gave them a shot to do it, and we'll see what the finish lies.
Well, half the time, guys, it's just getting the lucky break. They've gotten it twice. It may be their day.
All right, Vince, thanks. So you see the front of the field as they double up for the restart. A quick look at our Verizon Wireless race rundown now. Really, strategy's been the name of this one so far. Kevin Harvick started on pole with Marcos Ambrose outside of him. Harvick led early, then Ambrose went by him. And then the fuel mileage started to play at about lap 10.
Oh, yeah, they hit pit road at lap 10. A lot of guys think they can make it. Then the caution come out and mess that whole deal up. But it's all going to be a fuel strategy thing from here on out now.
Ambrose stayed out, led for a while when Carl Edwards and some of the others pitted early. You see Ambrose going going by Kevin Harvick here for the lead. That was at lap number 13. Then the caution that came out just a minute ago when Paul Menard went off into the gravel trap changed it all.
Yeah, it really did. And we saw David Reagan once again get a great opportunity. He was already on pit road, so he gets off, possibly can go all the way. I still think we're going to see more cautions, and I do think we're going to see the faster cars rise to the top of this thing as we get down the last few laps.
And you see the race off pit road with Kyle Busch getting out first. So let's reset this. The guys on the front row for the restart are Stephen Wallace and Brendan Gaughan. Did not pit under this caution. Then you've got David Reagan, who stopped under the green flag just before the caution came out. He's running third. Then Kyle Busch in the 18, first off pit road. And really the question becomes, those two guys on the front row, Rusty, those cars you own, do they have the fuel to make it to the finish?
Absolutely not. I mean,
okay.
I think there's a little mistake right there, but evidently they don't think so. We'll have to see how this thing plans out.
All right, and for Kyle Busch, again, his pit crew gaining him 4 spots on that stop. He's got Ambrose and all those other guys he was chasing before behind him. Marty, DJ, and Andy.
All right, thanks, Alan. Now, a couple of penalties we have to let you know about. The 28 for Kenny Wallace. They are penalized 1 lap for pitting outside the box. And the 5 car, they had an uncontrolled tire, which could just ruin this race. You can see that they are arguing with NASCAR. Now, take a look. See if we can see this. There's the tire.
Well, that's a tough call right there. I mean, the official, it hit him, and basically the tire then became under control. I'm not sure about that one. Shannon?
Guys, well, the team is saying that because they had to repair that front fender damage, that is why they lost control of the car. I'm sorry, the tire, but they did bring an official over here, pled their case, and of course, they didn't win. So Ron Fellows right now is going to come back down for some fuel while he serves his penalty.
So that basically takes care of Fellows' chances, unless he can pull a rabbit out of the hat. We're getting ready to go back to green flag racing as Fellows will make the turn, and it'll be Stephen Wallace, who last pitted on lap 18. No way he can go. And Brendan Gaughan, who last pitted on 39. We're back to green flag racing. Reagan taking a look, and he's going to take over.
Trouble there. Marcus Ambrose got into Carl Edwards.
Yep. And look at how guys behind him. That's Robbie Gordon out there as well, trying to get back into line. They both lose a couple of spots.
Ambrose tried to squeeze in between Joe Nemechek and Carl Edwards and actually clipped Carl Edwards, and that got him out of shape.
Well, that's the bad news. The good news for Marcus, he gained 2 spots. He's still on the move now, looking at Brendan Gaughan.
He's going to tuck underneath.
Him. Gaughan gives him some room. He's able to make that pass up to 4th.
Next in front of him is Kyle Busch in the 18. Look at the rest of the traffic coming through. Oh, too wide. That's not going to work. Somehow they squeezed it on through. Morgan Shepherd did a good job there, keeping all 4 wheels on. Here comes Kyle Busch. There he is on the 18. Looking to get under Stephen Wallace. Does. Here comes Ambrose on the other side. So Stephen going backwards pretty quickly here on the restart. So the top 3 are David Reagan, Kyle Busch, Marcus Ambrose.
Those guys have fast cars and they have fresh tires, so that made that work pretty easy for them to get up there. See, Kyle Busch is going to go try to get to the lead right now.
Taking it deep,
spot.
And he's got it, so we have another leader. So Kyle Busch has now led another race. He ties Sam Ard. 19 straight races he has led. He's got to get to the start-finish line to make it legal, but wow, what a record.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
David Reagan has a good car today. Sure. They've had great strategy, and getting him up front like this, Mike Kelly deserves a whole lot of credit, but the 18 car's out front, Dave.
Nanny, when you talk to crew chief Jason Ratliff, let's get back to that. 61 in the barrier, guys, up in the S's.
Yeah, Matt Carter's gotten a lot of camera time today. Unfortunately, it's usually been when he's in the wrong direction in the wrong place, and that was close. Because that's a blind view coming up over that hill for Fellows.
I think for both of them, I'm not sure they saw each other there till the last second.
No yellow, as it was local, so we'll stay green. Dave, let's go ahead and finish your thought.
Yes, with Jason Ratliff discussing Kyle Busch on a road course. He says, you know, it's not just road courses that I want to talk about this guy. He's exceptional everywhere. It's impressive that you can have a driver that can be good at every kind of track, and it makes it fun for us. So when we start the season, we think we have 35 options to win in the Nationwide Series. That's what Kyle does for this team. Now, of course, they will need caution laps to help them till the end, but but they've already helped themselves in a big way by that great round of pit stops.
And it is official now. He crossed the start-finish line. He has led an official lap 19 races in a row. Our 7th different leader. The record is 8 different leaders. We've had 6 lead changes. The record there is 14. And here comes Ambrose again. And these two are going to try and maybe make this their own little playground for a few laps.
Yeah, it's going to be a 2-car race for a while. Both of these cars are real fast, and Ambrose is going to put a lot of pressure, as much pressure as he can, on Kyle Busch.
Yeah, we'll see as this winds down how key that was, that Kyle Busch's pit crew did a fantastic job of getting him out in front of these guys. So, you know, week in and week out, Kyle Busch does a great job on the racetrack, but that pit crew does a fantastic job too.
Both of these cars have fender damage. You see just a little bit of damage on the 18 car on the right front fender, but the left front fender on Marcus Ambrose, you can see how it's kind of down on the tire. Doesn't look like it's rubbing, but that's part of that contact with Carl Edwards.
Coming down the front stretch. Does Ambrose have anything going into turn number 1? Not this lap. But boy, he is right there. If Kyle makes a slip, he's going to slide underneath him.
Well, this is where Marcus Ambrose will be sizing up Kyle Busch, see where he's a little bit quicker than he is. Is it just in spots? You know, sometimes you can be faster than a car, but you're faster there in areas that you can't make a pass. So it makes it very difficult when you get to those passing places, those opportunities. And if that guy's just as good right there, it takes you a long time to make that pass.
All right, looks like this is settled down, at least for the moment. Remember, we told you about Justin Allgaier and Greg Biffle getting a little contact in pit lane. Well, Allgaier's back to 25th. Dave Burns, what's the latest? I'm sorry, Vince, let's go to you.
Marty, let's talk about the 16 of Greg Biffle. During their pit stop, Allgaier's car was made contact with on pit lane, and it came in and hit the left front of the 16 car. Now you're watching the pit stop of the 16. Now watch the 12 car come in, make contact, and the right front on the 16 car, the front tire changer, broke his helmet. He was hit in the head by the jack, the front carrier. The tire fell on his thumb. They had to back the car up and then send it back out. So the 16 lost a lot of time, a lot of track position, but most importantly, they didn't get anybody seriously hurt. Can you imagine if those guys would have been on the left side of the car at that time?
Yeah, that's true. We would have had a major disaster. But another key reason, I mean, having those helmets, as we look at this, 3 wide, it's not going to work. Well, so far, look out. That's Jeff Burton in the 29, and it looks like the loser is going to be Boris. As you can see, Harvick gets underneath him. Oh my goodness! Look at the 55 of Robbie Gordon. I'm wondering how long NASCAR's going to let this go.
Well, that went from bad to worse, but now at least it's not flapping.
We get word that Paul Menard is off track again. He has spun it around. That is down at the base of the S's.
That's a bad spot to be in right there. I mean to tell you.
Watch them coming.
This is a real bad spot. See all these cars going real slow to go around Paul.
They got a local yellow only right now. If he can get it to fire, he's got it fire, but
it looks like the car stalled now and won't restart.
Well, this is a very dangerous situation.
The rest of the cars are on the other side of the track, so they're okay for right now. The leaders still have not crossed the start-finish line, and now the caution's out.
There it is.
At the start-finish line.
Okay, and now we'll have these guys side by side on the front row. It also saves some fuel for these guys that were needing that.
A lot of guys needed this caution play.
Yeah, 30 laps to go, and you were talking about guys like Reagan, how many laps they would be able to go. Every single one from here on out allows you to make it to the finish. And there you see Paul Menard. Boy, it's been a tough last few laps. He started 39th after having an awful qualifying session. They had a spark plug wire. They were basically qualifying on 7 cylinders. Started in the back, got all the way up front. Now he's parked in the S's. Stay with us.
1 year ago on this Watkins Glen race weekend, Marcos Ambrose scored the win on Saturday in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, his first such victory. And then a day later, it was Kyle Busch who started on the pole, lost the lead for a while, took it back, and yeah, count them, that's 8 wins on the season at that point for Kyle when he took the checkered flag in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race. And lo and behold, those two guys are fighting it out for the win in the final laps of today's NASCAR Nationwide Series event. Busch in the 18, the blue and orange car, and then Ambrose in the STP logoed machine, first and second for the restart. Now remember, last restart, Carl Edwards was up there amongst them. He's a little bit farther back after that last shootout-style double file restart going down into turn 1. Carl Edwards, you see him in the white car on the outside, screen right, and here comes Ambrose looking for some room.
And he turns into a pinball at that point, Brad.
Boy, it's just, you know, it's so congested down there. And like what Rusty talked about earlier, it's so difficult getting through that corner. Ambrose tries to stick his nose in there, and there's just nowhere to go. Gets into the rear end of Carl, and Carl can't hang on to it. And boy, I tell you, Ambrose picked up some spots.
Still out there.
Kicked Carl back to 8th spot, and so now the crew chief's just counting caution laps at this point, right, Jamie?
That's right, Frank Kerr, crew chief for Marcos Ambrose. You got a big smile on your face when the caution came out. How much is this going to help you?
Well, we needed about a lap and a half of fuel, so caution came out. We're in good shape now, and Mark's doing a great job. You know, we put this thing together kind of last minute, and we weren't very good when we unloaded, but we got a good race car now.
You know what kind of race car driver Kyle Busch is? What are we going to see on this restart?
Well, we'll just have to wait and see. We need to get him on the restart and get out front and just cruise.
Marcos Ambrose is here for one reason, Alan, and one reason alone, and that's to win this race.
Little on-track conversation between Carl Edwards and Ambrose there under the caution about that last restart. We'll have to find out later.
Just friendly gestures amongst buddies.
Yeah. How about we check with our in-race reporter under the yellow, DJ?
Hey, Boris, Dale Jarrett. You have a copy?
How you doing?
Well, I'm okay. Looks like as this race starts to wind down that things are getting a little more exciting on the track. We saw you 3 wide there a minute ago.
These double file restarts are kind of fun. It makes it exciting for sure.
What do you need your car to do a little better to move up in the top 10?
Get it to turn just a little bit better, but right now I'm saving a lot of fuel, and I need about 3 inches more leg room, and that'd be perfect. My right leg starts to cramp up after about 8 laps.
All right, buddy. Good luck with that, and good luck in these last 29 laps.
DJ.
Yeah, well, if you weren't with us for countdown, he said, I'm driving in the fetal position. And his knees are literally, I mean, they are jammed up in there. They didn't have time to get him all the way from California back to get a seat properly fitted. They moved the pedals as much as they could, but you got to remember, Boris is 6'4".
Yeah, that's the thing. He's a big guy, and it's hard to fit him in one of these cars if it's not really built for him.
Boy, it's got to be tough, though, if he cramps up right in the middle of a run there. It says after 8 laps, he's starting to have problems, and we still have 29 laps to go. Oh, the action has been fast and furious here at the Glen, as we have had now a total of 4 cautions for 13 laps. And we're about ready to go back to green flag racing. It has been an up and down day for a number of guys. Don't forget, next Saturday, it's going to be DJ, Andy, Rusty, and Ray in the booth. I get a week off. Thanks, guys. It's 3 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2 from Michigan. Sprint Cup Series will be at Watkins Glen. That's tomorrow, 1 Eastern on ESPN. NASCAR Now, presented by 5 Hour Energy. Just remember, 10 a.m., 10 p.m., ESPN2. Presented by the Home Depot on Monday with the Roundtable. Mike Massaro will be hosting at 5 Eastern on ESPN2. All right, we checked in on Kyle Busch's radio. Here was the conversations. We're getting ready to go back green.
If we get going here again and the 47 and I check out, or if the 47 checks out, back off and just save, Jason.
And right here with this caution lap, it puts us right there. I mean, yeah, it would be nice to have another 2 laps of savings, but right now we can make it if we had to.
So now you know it's going to be pedal to the metal, because he has gotten an extra lap. He didn't get 2, but he got an extra lap from the time we had that conversation. It will be pace car pulling off this time. It is Kyle Busch, Marcus Ambrose, Denny Hamlin, David Reagan, and Carl Edwards, your top 5, with Joe Nemechek 6th. Busch has selected, as everybody has all day, the inside, driver's right.
That's a big advantage getting down into turn 1, and the other advantage is that the outside guy here, in this case Marcus Ambrose, cannot beat the leader to the start-finish line. See Marcus now make a big move to the right to protect that inside.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to pass Kyle Busch there on this. He was trying to set himself up to where he might get by him here in just a minute as he got in the back of him.
Boy, Kyle was hot into the turn. Denny Hamlin also looking good through there on the outside line from high above. You can see everybody trying to sort it out. Carl Edwards has fought his way back. Whoa, a little contact going up through the S's. That looked like Scott Speed that got a little bit of help from, looked like maybe Joe Nemechek.
Yeah, Joe Nemechek's the one that's getting the worst of this. He's getting passed all the way up the backstretch.
Oh, man, 3 wide for a moment there. There's Robbie Gordon. It's easy to tell his car with that hood. He is right behind Jeff Burton in the 29. And there's Kevin Harvick, our first race leader. We've had a total of 7. Heading for turn 10. It's Kyle Busch and Ambrose. You heard him talking about trying to check out, but right now Denny Hamlin saying, fellas, I'm not going to let you.
Oh, we got Justin Allgaier off the track coming out of turn 9.
I don't know if he got any help back there, but he spun it around, keeps it off of the Armco, and it looks like we will stay green. You also noticed the number 1 back out on the track right there.
We didn't hit anything, though.
That's Ryan Newman right behind him.
Wow, Logano gets way high out of turn 11 there, come to the front straightaway.
26 laps to go. Oh, here we go. It's getting later in the race. That's Boris Said taking a peek inside. In Brad Keselowski and Logano, they trade a little bit of paint, and Logano gets it back on course. On board with Boris up through the S's.
You can hear him breathing it just a little bit there. That's where you really want to be wide open. If your car's working real good, you can stay wide open and then make some time up there. Marcus Ambrose really trying to put some pressure on Kyle Busch right now. It's going to be interesting to see as we go through this how much Kyle Busch is willing to risk trying to hold Marcus Ambrose back there. You know, if something should happen there, a little contact, this many cars on the lead lap, Kyle Busch could end up with a bad points day.
He's got a big point lead. He can afford to, gamble a little bit, and we know how he feels about winning and losing.
And the guy in second place, though, has nothing to lose except trying to win this race. So
I'll tell you, Denny Hamlin has now emerged as a contender in this race. He is all over the 47 of Ambrose.
And remember, Hamlin came on board this week after Scott Lagasse was taken out of this ride. And there'll be a couple of other drivers seeing this 11 car over the next few races. Looking out the back from Marcos. Whoop, he gets it a little wide right there. And you hear him having to breathe.
Yeah, around turn 2 there, trying to get up through the S's. Now, you can see, though, with this throttle, he's able to stay wide open. That's key to being able to get a run up through here to, I think the last time that he probably gained a little bit on Kyle Busch, and he was trying to outbrake him into that.
Go back just a few moments ago, and that is the last lap. Whoa, Boris, hold on. And he's going to lose a spot to the 16 of Biffle.
Yeah, he's lucky he only lost 1 spot there. That car got way out of shape under braking.
So move Biffle up to 13th, Boris back to 14th. Back to the leaders, and there they come through turn number 10. And Kyle has opened up a little bit of a gap now. That's about what a half a second looks like here on the racetrack.
Where he got that lead was in the bus stop a lap and a half ago when it looked like Marcus Ambrose was going to try to make a move and got a little out of shape. See how long it takes to make up just a little bit of ground when it's this competitive.
Let's get an update on Denny Hamlin. Shannon?
Guys, this is the first of 2 scheduled races for Denny Hamlin in this 11 car. While the balance and the handling of the car has been pretty good all day, Denny Hamlin says he's been battling power issues. The team believes it may be a carburetor. They did make a carburetor change in final practice because they were having some issues earlier, but it has not helped this 11 car all day. That has been the major problem, but despite that, he has been hanging in the top 5 all day long.
Well, and if you take a look at that top 5, the top 3 are all Toyotas, and then the next 2 are Fords. And when you looked at qualifying, 7 of the top 8 were Toyotas.
Yeah, and as I watch these guys turn these lap times, I don't think anybody's concerned about fuel right now because they're laying down some pretty quick laps.
They really are. And Marcus Ambrose, he knocked off a couple of tenths of that lead of Kyle Busch.
Well, to give you an idea, these are the only 3 cars running laps at 1 minute and 13 seconds. Everybody is 1:14 or farther. And so you can see that the gap is starting to really open up back to 4th place, David Reagan.
You can see Ambrose really get a nice run off of turn 11 there as they come down the front straightaway. I don't think he's close enough to try to outbrake him. He gets outside just to give a little bit of a look, seeing if he could get Kyle Busch to maybe give him that spot.
Well, we've now got 23 laps to go, and it looks like it's starting to develop into a 3-car race. Stay with us. 21 laps remaining here in the Zippo 200 at Watkins Glen, and this is turned in now to a two-car battle as the 47 of Marcos Ambrose is all over Kyle Busch, but he can't quite seal the deal.
He's doing everything except getting by him here. Oh, he's doing everything. See if he can get another run up through this.
He'll fold.
The spotter's telling him keep putting pressure on Kyle Busch. He'll fold. I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either.
Kyle Busch pretty good at driving the wheels off of his too. But this is a great battle around this road course.
Ambrose just
Marcus
looking
Ambrose.
for any little opening here.
But Kyle just shuts the door every time in those places that he can pass. Kyle is just good enough to keep him behind.
Well, we talked about this in qualifying, DJ. This was where Marcus, from the bus stop chicane, everybody else couldn't go that back section as fast as he did. But here in the race, like you said, he's just not able to make that work.
Well, that's changing now that, you have laps on the tires. Your brakes aren't quite as good, so a lot of things change throughout the day. And Kyle Busch is just good enough in these spots to keep Marcus right behind him. Marcus keeps looking but can't make it.
The key thing with the 18 car is he is really good through the left-hander and getting off the last turn, and that really shuts the door on making the pass, getting into one right here.
Well, the last lead changes occur within the last 20 laps. 6 of the last 8 races. We have 20 to go. Let's get our nationwide insurance up to speed in our top 5. David, you're up.
Of course, Kyle Busch has won a Nationwide Series before on a road course, but not here. And right now, it's defensive driving. That car is good, but he's got to make sure he tries to run his race while he keeps the 47 behind him. Jamie?
Dave, Marcos Ambrose isn't looking in his rearview mirror. He's looking ahead. Remember, this is the only race he's running this year. He has nothing to lose. Kyle Busch has a championship to think about. So he says his car is good, not saying anything on the radio. Shannon?
Jamie, Denny Hamlin last pitted on lap 45. The handling is good on the car, but the team has told me they are not good on fuel. They're about 3 to 4 laps short on their fuel window. And right behind him, hunting him down right now, is Carl Edwards in that 60 car. Grip has been the biggest problem all day. His last pit stop was also on 45. And according to the 60 team, they can make it to the end. Jamie?
And Scott Speed behind him. Look at this guy, crept up in the top 5, been working and adjusting on this car all day, from spring rubbers, air pressure, track bar. He says he feels at home on a road course, his first time ever here at Watkins Glen.
So there you see your top 5. Further back in 6, it's Kevin Harvick, David Reagan 7th, Jeff Burton 8th, Robbie Gordon 9th, Joey Logano rounds out your top 10. We have a total of 31 cars on the lead lap still, and we're down to 19 laps to go. But this is getting really fun to watch between these two.
Nobody's flinched yet, have they?
No, they really haven't. Just superior driving by both of these guys right now. Ambrose trying to make this pass.
Oh, and he's going the short route.
Oh, he put Kyle Busch in a position where he has to stop there.
Listen to the crowd.
Oh, my goodness.
The crowd
That was a bold move right there.
Man.
Oh, Kyle is not going to be happy. You can be guaranteed of that.
Yeah, to say the least. Wow.
Kyle
He's still back in third.
Yeah, he had to stay legal and not go through that portion of the track. He has to come to a complete stop and not gain any positions. And he was the leader when that happened.
He's now 3.4 seconds behind, and you realize he's been passed for the win 8 times in 2009, and it was the last lead change of the race. This could be the same situation here. Take another look at it from outside.
And Ambrose gets a big run up the backstretch. And
Kyle he was going to try to block him, and it really wasn't that he didn't have room. He just got in there too hard, and his car wiggled, and if he tried to turn, then he was going to spin. So Kyle Busch did a really good job.
I tell you, and you got to give him credit. He did a good job not wrecking both cars, because he could have, to try to save the car and go through that section, he would have had to wreck Marcus Ambrose.
That's right. And he does what he has to do. He stops, and there he is in third, and he's actually catching Denny Hamlin for second.
Was he thinking points there, or is it just knee-jerk reaction?
No, I think he's just instinctively doing what he has to do right there to save his race car.
A little smoke from Denny.
And if he knew what we knew, that the 11 car is going to be about 3 laps short, he wouldn't be worried about him too much right at this point.
This is from Ambrose.
This is just a bold move right here.
Wow.
Really bold.
Ambrose basically went all the way over
You're
that
all
curve.
clear all the way out.
Making contact.
Well, that's our 7th lead change, and Marcus Ambrose now has opened up a 4-second lead over Denny Hamlin. Oh, and Robbie Gordon has problems through the chicane. He blows through as He's got a flat right
front. It's going to be, this is going to put a lot of debris on the track. It's going to be really hard for him to get back to the pit area without having another caution here.
And he could have a caution, and you can see Kyle Busch is taking that second spot away now.
That all happened while we were watching Robbie, and he has set sail.
Caution.
Now caution's out.
Side-by-side start.
Oh, is this going to get interesting? Kyle will get one more shot.
At least one more.
Yeah, at least. As we are now under our 5th caution because of this problem with Robbie Gordon with a ton of debris getting scattered all over. And I'm trying to figure out how he lost that right front tire.
Well, when you look at all that damage on the car, he's had a lot of damage to the right front, up there on the hood a couple of times. It finally rubbed a hole in that tire.
And this is going to take a while to clean up.
Here's the replay.
Right here down into turn 1.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
There we go, some more contact.
So that's where it all started, and then by the end of the, right there, look out, look at the photographers there. They're saying, wait a minute, you're not supposed to be over here.
It's been a tough day for Robbie. Had a good car too.
Running in the top 5 most of the day despite all of the problems. Here he has made it back to pit road, but in the process, he has left half of the race car out on the track, it seems like, in debris.
Right here, slow down, slow down, slow down.
Yeah, look at all this stuff. Now that is like turn number 10, and you saw where this all started, back through the S's.
Yeah, you got to be careful not to run through this. Whoa. Because nobody wants to make a pit stop. They all want to stay out.
Well, this is obviously going to take some time to clean up, and we still have 16 laps to go. Wow, that is hot. We'll take a break. We'll come back, sort everything out, and see how long it takes to get back to green flag racing.
Got a few interesting things going on here at Watkins Glen International. 16 laps to go in today's NASCAR Nationwide Series race. Marcos Ambrose is the leader. Let's first start with the cause upon further review of this most recent yellow flag when Robbie Gordon was dropping debris around the racetrack. Robbie and Joey Logano in a pretty heated race for 10th spot.
Yeah, it looks like they're mad at each other. Take a look at Robbie. Drives him down to the inside of the track. Gives him a little love tap right there.
Hey, it looks like Joey was racing him real hard coming off the corner. Robbie got sideways, and he thought Joey was responsible for some reason. Gets down here, takes a shot at Joey's left rear, and looks like he was trying to turn him around a little bit there. Rusty, what do you think?
Well, I don't know. I know Robbie's been hot the last couple of weeks. Him and David Strumming last week at Pocono, and him and Joey Logano now. I think they need a little recess.
Well, yeah, and he gets the worst for wear, blowing out that right front tire and tears up his race car.
Both Logano and Gordon have been on pit road for repairs. Now, what sets up here at the end of this caution is one of those side-by-side shootout-style restarts with Kyle Busch alongside Marcos Ambrose as a result of the pass for the lead when Ambrose basically dive-bombed inside of Kyle Busch at the inner loop. Fair or foul?
Well, no, it's fair. Take a look at Marcos Ambrose. He just sailed that baby down in there, and Kyle Busch looked there and went, whoa, I can't make this happen, and basically scared him. They never touched each other at all.
Yeah, it's great. It's a good move by Kyle not to get into Ambrose. Kyle is in the points lead. He's got a fast race car. Now he gets himself back in position. As a matter of fact, Kyle was the fastest race car on the track, so he has a chance to get Ambrose on this restart. It's a smart move by Kyle Busch not getting back in there.
Clear all the way out.
Smart move by Kyle Busch thinking to stop.
That's right.
That's what you got to do with the rule.
That's right.
So Marcos is riding around here under caution behind the pace car, and he's thinking what?
Chad, you guys ain't got any reason to be mad at me or not? He posted. He just didn't know you were there. How did he lose much time? He rather than wreck you, he just drove straight through and had to stop.
So that's the radio exchange between Tad Geschichter, the team co-owner and spotter for Marcos Ambrose, and the driver behind the wheel of that 47 car. The question is, does Kyle agree with that assessment, whether or not he has anything to be mad about? Now, Denny Hamlin was running as high as third just a couple seconds ago, and now he's been on pit road, and he's a little bit farther back in the pack, Shannon.
Well, Alan, Denny Hamlin came over the radio, told his crew that he thought he had a loose wheel. In fact, it was the rear end of the car that was moving around. They brought him down pit road. They realized that the right side track bar mount is broken. So the guys are going back to the garage right now. I believe they're going to bring a weld out here and try to get that fixed.
All right, so Denny Hamlin back to 26th place after racing Kyle Busch for second just before that caution flag came out. So the lead car continuing to shut that thing off to save some fuel. Jamie, what are they saying?
Well, Frank Kerr, crew chief, talking to him again, as luck would have it for all the race fans. These two get to start side by side now. You told me that your driver's worried about drivers getting mad at him. What do you think's going to happen here?
Well, it was a clean pass, and you know, Kyle just didn't know he was there. But Marcus doesn't want anybody mad at him. You know, this is basically his rookie year in Cup, so he just wants to make sure he has a lot of friends and there's no trouble. But the STP Toyota's been good all day. It's going to be exciting here at the end.
Can you guys hold up that 18?
He's got a little more motor than us, it looks like, but we'll get a good start here. We'll be okay.
All right, let's go over to Dave.
With Jason Ratcliffe, Jamie, who saw all of that, Marcos wondered on the radio if there was any reason why Kyle should be upset. How did you see it?
Well, you know, he dive bombed us there at the last second. I mean, it was so fast, the spotter couldn't even come on the radio and say anything. But Kyle did a good job of avoiding what could have potentially been a big wreck. So heads up move on his part. You know, I mean, he has that option, you know, to another racer. He may think it's a little cheap, you know, in that spot of the racetrack to dive bomb you like that. You can't go through there too wide or somebody's not going to make it out. But that was Ambrose's only shot to make it happen at that point. Well, we'll see. It's not over. Our NASCAR Energy Drink Toyota's been good. Right now, if it goes to scheduled distance, we should be good to go to the end. But if it goes beyond the scheduled distance, it could get fun.
Still a few more questions yet to be answered. Lights are off on the pace car, Marty.
So they've been given the signal. We go racing in one more lap. Who's got enough fuel in case we get a green-white checker? Oh, and more importantly, what's going to happen on this restart in just a second? Is Kyle Busch really not all that happy with Marcos Ambrose over that pass in the inner loop a minute ago? We will find out. Advantage Ambrose in that he's got the inside line for the restart.
Lights out on the pace car here at Watkins Glen. Next time by, we're going to go green. 13 laps will remain. And the last time these guys pitted in the top 6 positions was lap 45. And everybody, you see, we watched earlier, everybody is shutting off the motors, trying to coast as much as they can.
They just want to be as careful as they possibly can. Now I want to go back and echo something that Rusty brought up. How quickly Kyle Busch thought and knew the rule is what he had to do in that position right there. He stopped that car and then was able to take off without getting any other kind of penalty. So that was heads-up thinking on Kyle Busch's part.
All right, here we go. Coming through turn 11, Marcos Ambrose has selected the inside. It will be a dash down to turn number 1. And who is going to come out at the other end?
NASCAR has warned all these drivers to stay in line until you cross the start-finish line.
Yeah, is Kyle Busch able to keep up on the start here to even make a run on the outside into turn 1?
They're picking up speed, and we're back to green flag racing, and Marcos gets a good jump.
Yeah, so does Carl Edwards. He's going to try to take that second spot away from Kyle Busch.
Whoa, baby, hold on. 3 wide. The 99 of speed had to go outside. A couple others behind him as well.
Yeah, that's our points leaders right there, first and second.
Kyle holds on to second. Right behind him, Carl Edwards, Scott Speed, Kevin Harvick. Dave, what's the story on Harvick?
Very, very close on fuel. But this morning, Ernie Cope told me that they had poor fuel mileage. They were laps short, and coming down to this last restart, Ernie told Kevin, we are stupid close on fuel. He's been saving as much as he can. He's going to race it to the end. We'll see if they sputter on the final lap.
Yeah, Dave, you know what that means? That means they don't have enough. He's saying he's close, but I'll guarantee you their numbers say they can't make it.
Take a look.
Scott Speed.
Yeah, well, they're going to lean on each other a little bit through the corner. That's turn number 10.
Now, Scott Speed's got the advantage in this corner, but Carl clears him.
Carl slams the door on him, quite frankly, and holds on to third position. So it's Ambrose, Busch, Edwards, Speed, Harvick, Jeff Burton back in 6th. And look at the logjam coming down the straightaway behind him. 31 cars still on the lead lap. That's Boris said lighting up the hides.
Yeah, he's got a tire rub on that left front. It's going to cause him a problem.
Oh, Joe Nemechek going to go the high side. And there's Jason Leffler. First time we've seen Jason. Boy, give this team a tip of the hat. They're up to 15th after that huge crash just yesterday.
How about this Fitzpatrick car, number 4? He is having a great run also in the other Kevin Harvick car. That black car that just went by. Morse's got a problem here with that left front, or that left front rubbing.
You can see Stephen Wallace back in that mix. He's doing a nice job today, too. They got off on their pit strategy a little bit there, and that kind of put him behind, but he's made a nice comeback.
On board with Stephen.
Trouble.
That's Tony Raines as he goes around.
Whoa now.
Man.
Put a big old smoke screen up there, pulls down in front of Paul Menard.
That's turn number 9. Somebody else clipped off a few of the cones. And let's check in on Robbie Gordon. Remember, he was not happy with Joey Logano and basically instigated some contact. There he is. He's still leaning on him. Well, this could be fun.
And now the 20 car is off the racetrack.
Oh,
probably on a flat tire.
And he has hit the same corner, and he's on fire.
He's got a lot of
caution, a lot of stuff coming out here.
A lot of fluid. He needs to shut it off.
Well, he's trying to get back.
Off the racetrack.
Yeah, the
get
team's
out of the thing.
telling him to get off and get out.
Yeah, he's just, and the track is getting completely covered. You see all that fluid coming out.
You're on fire.
Caution is out again. And Joey is bailing, and that's the best sign right there. Get him out of there.
It's going to help all the cars that need some more caution laps, like Kevin Harvick. It's going to ensure that most of the cars will make it to the end.
He hit the tires the same place where Jason Leffler hit just yesterday.
Yeah, just with the other end of the car. He's gone pretty much head on into those tires. That probably was still from some of that contact that we were showing you.
Well, it looks like the tires are up on the car, though.
Well,
maybe he got some help.
That was kind of a continuation.
Well, there's the end result. We don't have exactly how it started.
Well, where we showed those guys arguing about that space up there was in the chicane inner loop part of the racetrack at the bus stop there, and this was coming out of there. So we can only speculate, but you got to think that something along those lines took place.
I have a feeling.
I don't think he just drove off the racetrack into those tires.
I have a feeling Joey and Robbie will not be sharing dinner tonight. You know, we mentioned Jason Leffler in the same spot. This is a very fast corner, folks. If you've never been here to Watkins Glen, let's take you back if you weren't with us. This is practice yesterday, and watch the 38.
Oh,
wicked.
Goodness. What a wreck.
It was just plain wicked. Jason was okay. They pulled out the backup. And as we mentioned, these guys have done a heck of a job. He's running 14th right now in a car that they basically just put pieces together. In fact, they had to go get a whole brand new fuel cell just to get it loaded in there. And there you see Joey getting ready to take the ride over to the medical center. He'll get checked out. And we're going to have some cleanup time here because you can see it, the fluids go all the way back to turn number 9. So there is one very hot rod, as Rusty Wallace would call it. Not the kind you want. Joey Logano's out of this one.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Watkins Glen International is brought to you by Toyota, moving forward.
Well, you can see the clouds. It's getting a little darker here. There is some rain reported off to our west, and hopefully we're going to get this one in before the showers come on. This one was brought out by Joey Logano. And that was Robbie Gordon. He got the free pass, so he'll get back on the lead lap. That'll give us 29 cars on the lead lap. And there's your race leader. Let's go back and take another examination of Joey Logano's situation. Take a look on the left side of your screen.
Oh, that's contact right there with the 55 car. Wow. That's a bad place to put somebody off there, too.
And there you
Watch
can
this
see
car hit down here. Joey had got it slowed down quite a bit. Still a lot of damage.
Yeah, and then this is when the lines broke and it caught on fire, and pit crew's telling him, stop and get out. And there is Robbie Gordon. While all this is going on, Carl Edwards, second place in the points, third place on the racetrack. Shannon, what is his team talking about?
Well, Marty, it's definitely been a solid run for Carl Edwards today. We've seen how strong the 47 and the 18 are. How do you guys compare to the cars that are in front of you right now?
Yeah, we're probably a little bit off from where they're at, but you know, we've been working on this thing all day, and you know, we'll see what happens. 47 and 18 been racing hard, so you know, I don't know where they're at on their fuel and all that stuff. I think everybody's good right now, but you never know what's going to happen here.
Absolutely. You never know what's going to happen in Watkins Glen. Jamie?
Well, the 99 of Scott Speed has come to life, and it's because of this man, Jerry Baxter. Hey, we're talking about the front runners. What about you guys? Can you throw something into this program?
I think we can. You know, we've been saving fuel this whole last run, and we stopped a couple laps shorter than what we thought our window was, so it's worked out good with the cautions. But it's just been a long day. You know, we're doing all the adjustments, done spring rubbers, track bar, you know, air pressure, but Scott's doing a great job. You know, he really is, and that's what this is all about for the Red Bull folks and for Michael Waltrip, is just to get him laps out there, you know, and get more and more time on the track. So he's doing a great job.
And he has nothing to lose. He's going for the win. And Marty, you know, Toyota's never won a nationwide race here, and 3 of them are in the top 4.
That is absolutely right. The lone Ford in third right there is Carl Edwards, and there's 2 Chevys, Harvick and Burton, in 5th and 6th. As looking at the data, just one statistic we'll throw out for you right now. If Ambrose does lead the rest of the laps, he would take the 5 bonus points away from Carl Edwards, and every point is important. He would have 26 laps led at the end to Carl's 25.
And the guy third in these championship standings, we talked about Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards. Brad Keselowski's worked his way back up to 10th spot.
Well, it looks like we're going to have time to take one more break before we go back to green flag racing. Let's remind you about the Sprint Cup Series, because it's tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern over on ESPN. NASCAR Countdown presented by Degree V12 will kick things off. Championship leader Tony Stewart won 4 of the last 7 Watkins Glen Sprint Cup races. Does he do it again tomorrow? Tune in to find out. The aerial view of Watkins Glen International, you can see the little cloud of smoke from the Speedy Dry right down the straightaway as you head towards turn number 10. Joey Logano has made it back from the medical center. Vince has caught up with him.
Well, with all the fire, it's good to see Joey just standing here next to us. Okay, but describe what was going on with Robbie Gordon and you.
Apparently we got in a little grudge match after he cut down my tire, and he decided to recommend the caution, which is it's not real cool, I think, you know, putting someone in danger to wreck under caution, and he gets lucky enough to get the lucky dog after all that. So it's a pretty raw deal to race someone. It's pretty stupid. You can't fix stupid. It's forever. So, you know, you remember that, you put it in your memory bank, but I tell you what, it's a pretty wrong way to race somebody.
Joey Logano and Robbie Gordon, they'll be on the track together again tomorrow in the Cup race.
And like I said, I don't think they're going to be sharing dinner anytime soon. And you could see on that replay, as Tony Raines was spinning in the background, in the foreground, Robbie was getting into his quarter panel. And then this is what happened as the net result into the tire barrier. Here is the earlier incident.
Yeah, you see Robbie gets a little bit loose and forces Joey down, all the way down, completely down against the wall on the front straightaway.
Then as they got down to turn 1, see Robbie turns in.
I really haven't seen Joey do anything wrong yet in any of these shots.
Yeah, we might have seen as they came out of turn 11, Joey might have got against Robbie to force him up there, and that's what he was mad to start with. But as you can see here, as they come through the bus stop part of this, Robbie was forcing him out. And then it was the next lap that everything happened. Dave?
Guys, we've been following the fuel needs and the counting of cautions for the 33 team. The first voice you hear is Kevin Harvick's.
Breathing easier now, Ernie? A little bit. Still pretty nervous. But that 29's on the same boat as we are, too. By the time they clean this up, we should be good, though, Kev.
And there was one final transmission. Unless we have a green-white checker, please keep saving fuel. It's close.
And that's something we should think about. I mean, that is a real possibility. We'll have 6 to go this time by. And a lot of guys don't want to see that green-white checker. Let's talk about what's going to happen in the Nationwide Series next week. We're going to pick up the speed a little bit, head out to Michigan for the Carfax 250. That'll be August 15th, 3 Eastern on ESPN2. And tomorrow, of course, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series action, 1 o'clock Eastern over on ESPN. NASCAR now presented by 5 Hour Energy at 10 a.m. and 10 p.m., both on ESPN2. And then NASCAR Now, presented by the Home Depot, the Roundtable Monday, 5 Eastern on ESPN2. All right. We've got some time. We had a chance to talk to Marcus about the restarts and turn 1, especially if you're in the lead, and he's going to be battling for it.
Turn 1 here at Watkins Glen is always infamous for locking inside front tyre on the way into turn 1. It normally causes someone to run into someone else. I'm sure with these double file restarts there's going to be carnage in the first corner at some point during the day. I just hope that I'm not starting it, and I hope that I'm not part of it.
And guess where he is, right there.
He's going to be right in the eye of the storm here on this start.
And remember, a little bit earlier, he and Kyle had a moment going through the chicane. Kyle not real happy with the 47. Right behind them, it'll be Carl Edwards and Scott Speed, and then Jeff Burton and Kevin Harvick. And remember, everybody is still saving fuel.
You see the front valence on the 47 car. That happened on one of the curbs when he was going through the chicane. You saw how he had to take his whole car over one of those big curbs. Probably hurting the car a little bit, but I believe that he's got a good enough car to hold these guys off.
You know, actually, if I remember correctly, that's the move when he came across the curbs when he was side by side with Kyle Busch.
Yeah, he was trying to stay out of the way, or trying to stay over to the right as far as possible, and he went over that curb with the whole car.
As these guys get ready, I think the second guy in these double file restarts, the guy starting second is the guy that's really at a disadvantage. It makes it difficult because he can't jump, he can't anticipate, because he can't beat the guy, the leader, back to the start-finish line. And so that gives the guy in third place, who is Carl Edwards right now, a little more of an advantage.
And remember, Carl stayed right on Marcus's bumper going down that front straightaway. And we're about to find out, as we get ready to go back to green flag racing, there will be 6 laps remaining here at Watkins Glen. Watch the flag. Here we go. Hold your breath. Same story again. The 60 tucked in underneath the 47.
See Kyle Busch, and Carl's actually got the advantage this time out of that corner. So he takes that second spot.
That's Justin Allgaier going way wide. No harm, no foul. He'll be able to get back on track. Meanwhile, the battle continues up front, and look at Edwards. He's able to take over second spot.
Just like you said, Dale, that does definitely give that guy in that second row an advantage. Put Kyle Busch on defense. He wasn't able to even think about the lead.
See, Carl had moved over to the inside, trying to make sure he protected that spot in case Kyle Busch was going to try to jump in there.
Everybody's navigating the chicane. So far, so good. One car got a little wide back there, but stayed on track.
See Brendan Gaughan and Michael McDowell battling as they came out of there.
Down towards turn number 10. Everybody's holding their breath as far as fuel in those first 6 cars. They last pitted on lap 45. This time by, there'll be 5 to go. And again, Carl takes the defensive move, and oh, so close with the 18.
Yeah, we're going to see a move down here to turn 1, though, with Kyle Busch. He's going to try to get to the inside of Carl Edwards.
Scott Speed looking as well.
He gets cut off there. He's going to try to make the outside work. You have to really drive it in.
What a move.
And Carl's going to run him wide.
Yeah.
Look out.
He's still there.
Oh, heading up through the S's. Here we go. Side by side. There's not a lot of room through here.
Kyle Busch got him. Wow. What a move.
So
Get back in the championship. Did it last year, too. You're clear by 2.
I tell you what, that's a man that just not afraid to throw his car out there and have confidence in his ability and his race car.
He was not in the preferred line in either one of those corners, in turn 1 or turn 2, and still made it work.
And the guy who loves it most is Marcus Ambrose, because while those two were fighting it out, look at what happens. He's able to open up almost a full second lead.
But now there's nobody between Kyle Busch and Marcus Ambrose, and there's only 5 laps to go. Less than that when we get to the stripe. Be 4 to go when they get back.
Carl's got his hands full. Whoa, contact. That is the 62. As you've got Brendan Gaughan in the 26 and Michael McDowell having a little bit of contact through turn 9.
They were having a disagreement over space a while ago. It looked like it continued on. But they're back going. No caution.
There's some damage on the left front of the 62 of Gaughan.
Carl Edwards is under attack up front from Scott Speed. I believe Edwards might have some damage or something wrong.
Whoa, and speed
really slowed down some.
Has the inside line heading up through the S's. Now it's Carl's turn with the inside on the left-hander. He regains the spot.
Yeah, it didn't look like anything was wrong there. You can go that fast and make that move.
Meanwhile, the two guys up front have opened up, well, it's a second back to Kyle Busch. That's what it looks like. And then a little bit further back to third. Let's go back in the last lap right through this section. Take a look. Yep, there is, the 62 gets turned. And then the 26, and then there's second contact. So while they get it sorted out, let's check in again with the battle. That's third, fourth, and fifth. Edwards, Speed, and Harvick. Speed trying to take a look inside. Won't have any chance of doing it there. And look at the gap that's opened up to second place. Here they come down the front straightaway now with 3 laps remaining.
The lap that Kyle Busch just ran, Andy.
He just ran 0.4 of a second faster than Marcus Ambrose that last lap. It's a man on a mission.
Ron Fellows, Jeff Burton are trying to trade spots. Fellows had it for a moment. Burton says, I'm going to try and take it back from you. But now going up through the S's, move Fellows ahead of Jeff and into 6th place.
Well, the day that Fellows has had, it's been pretty eventful, and he's able to get back to the 6th spot.
That's on board looking out the back of Fellows' car. Down into the bus stop. That's Greg Biffle, the 3rd car in that freight train. And as you see the race lead, it is now 0.8 of a second. So Kyle Busch is starting to chip away at it. We're going to have 2 laps to go this time by.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be quite that much when we get back to the start-finish line here either. He's really cut that lead down.
And 2 laps is a long way to race around this track.
Yes, it is. That's
a lot of turns. A lot of time to make a mistake.
Each lap
Kyle doesn't want this.
Each lap 2.45 miles.
2 to go.
He gave it all he had off turn 11.
Yeah, actually it cost him a little bit of time there.
While these guys try and figure out what's happening back a little further, and you can see the gap now is back to 1.1 seconds. Let's go back to that exciting moment when we had the sequence coming up through the S's.
This is probably the best pass I've ever seen through this section of this track. Runs him off the track in that corner. He comes back on and still does not have the preferred line through turn 2 and still makes the pass.
Wow. Say what you want. The driver of that 18 can handle the wheel. Right now, he's got to find something and find it fast. It's 1.1 second the difference.
Yeah, and you know, last week he said, you know, he really wasn't that impressed with that record that he's tied about finishing 1st or 2nd, but that was a pass that told me that, yeah, he does have something to prove. You know, he does really care about that because he's up in that 2nd spot again.
You know, the last few laps we've had so much of the attention up front.
White flagging.
As we get the white flag, we'll let you know the best.
One more, bud. One more.
The best nationwide only driver, Brad Keselowski, right now in 10th. And it's right now, as we're looking a little bit further back, Kevin Harvick taking a peek. No, he's not going to be able to do anything with the 99 on this corner.
Yeah, talk about a couple other guys that are going to come back from Keselowski back there. Joe Nemechek's had a great day. He's in 11th, and J.R. Fitzpatrick back in 12th. 2 guys really having good runs.
Right now, it's all about Marcus Ambrose, though. It looks like he's going to win here for the 2nd year in a row through the bus stop chicane. Kyle just doesn't have enough for him. It's going to take a mistake by Marcus.
He hadn't made any, so that's hard to believe he's going to make one here in these next couple of turns. Just following up with what he did last year and putting himself in a position to win both races this weekend, guys.
Yeah, he's got a great cup car, too.
We got it, boys.
Don't celebrate too soon. You still got 2 corners to go. Oh, Nemechek goes
around. These are 2 guys we were talking about having great runs, too.
Coming through turn number 11, the final time for the 2nd year in a row. Kangaroo meet.
You are the man.
Marcus.
You are the man.
Ambrose wins.
Is that it? Are you sure it's it? Proud to work with the best in the world, man.
You see the top 5. There's Jeff Burton in 6th. all the way through Biffle, Reagan, Brad Keselowski. Scott Speed, we can tell you he had to stop. He blew the chicane, so that's why he fell back on that last lap. We didn't get a chance to see that. And Kyle goes on past. I don't know. I didn't see if there was any words exchanged or.
I don't know if there were. I doubt it was congratulations if it was. I don't think Marcus Ambrose too much cares at this point.
No, absolutely not. He won the race, did a great job of driving that car all day long.
He's dialing that brake balance over there. See his right hand. He's getting ready for his burnout. He's taking all the rear brake out of it so he can spin those rear tires.
I do a burnout on that with this motor. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. That wasn't a real enthusiastic yeah.
Yeah, that was the owner. That's
why. All right, here's the moment of Kyle coming by. Let's see if there was anything happening.
Hang on a minute.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's Kyle saying, I still don't like what you did.
Well, there are some guys that congratulate each other like that, but it's usually teammates that do things like that. There's Kyle Busch headed to pit road with another second-place finish. Extend his points lead.
Breaks the record. He now owns this one. This is his 10th race in a row where he has finished first or second. He will not be happy. You can be guaranteed of that, even though it is an astounding record.
And a great drive today by Kyle Busch to bring it home second. This was the best car all day.
Nice
How about that throw? Oh, man, this is his week right here.
Tell you what.
Got everything going.
Uh-oh. He's got to fire the engine again. He gets her going now.
Not only can he drive, he can catch.
Oh, don't get too close.
No,
don't go one more. Oh, he's going to get
one more, Mike.
Oh. Oops.
He won't need that one until next year anyway. Or maybe a few weeks.
Oh, let's go celebrate. Jamie?
Wow, precision driving all the way around. Frank Kerr, you guys get your first win together. Frank, you said that 18 had a better motor. How did your driver in this team pull through and get the win?
Well, we got a really good restart there, and we were going through the corner better. You know, we put this thing together at the last minute, really, and built this car in a matter of days. And, you know, we unloaded. You saw we weren't very good, but everybody got together and struggled hard, and we just worked our butts off. And what can I say? Thanks to STP coming on board for this, and I mean, Tad and Jody and Brad. I mean, you know, they're great people, you know, and I'm just glad that I can do this for them. And this is quite a win for us, to be honest. And maybe we can do 2 in a row tomorrow.
Congratulations. Let's go to Dave with second place.
And that is Kyle Busch has climbed out of the car now. Kyle, dirty driving or just aggressive from Marcus Ambrose today?
Well, I think it was a little aggressive getting in the bus stop, but you got to do what you got to do to win. But I felt like it was a really, really late move, and if I would have went through there with him, I would have wrecked. So I had to do what I had to do to preserve my car and save myself. So we had the second best car today. I was trying to hold him off, but just didn't have enough to do it, unfortunately.
Can you talk about that moment when you saw him out of your peripheral vision going into the bus stop?
I never saw him. I heard him, and I heard him in the grass or wherever the hell he was. I don't know where he was, and I had to turn left. I couldn't keep going through the bus stop.
All right, Kyle finished his second today. Shannon?
Well, guys, it's a 15th top 5 finish for Carl Edwards and this 60 team. Tell me about your race today, and tell me about that great racing we saw between you and the 18.
Yeah, that was wild. I mean, I was just fighting them off. I mean, our Save-A-Lot Fusion, my guys did a great job with strategy. They did wonderfully on pit road, but we just weren't fast. I wasn't fast. I tried everything I could, and I thought, well, I'm going to have a good race here with the 18. Maybe we can finish second. And he got to the outside of me and still motored by, and those guys checked out. And then I had a great race with Scott Speed. I don't know if he ended up 5th, but you know, he deserves a hand for that drive. So just got to thank Save-A-Lot, Scott's, Ford. Our fuel mileage was great today, and thank all the fans for coming out here. I wish it was 15 top 2s or whatever the 18's got right now.
All right, Carl Edwards, top 5 finish for the 60 team. Marty?
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this one as much as we did. I mean, this race literally had a little bit of everything. And Marcus getting ready to come on out. Yeah, let's go celebrate, Jamie.
Celebration, Marty. All these Australian fans are here yelling for their man. Marcos Ambrose goes to victory lane for the second time ever in his NASCAR career. He doesn't want to get off the car.
It's a fun racetrack. I think tomorrow's going to be a lot of fun.
Got a little wet. Yep, we got a little bit of wet. Oh, and his daughter comes in, his wife. Whole family's here. Marcos, he's going to get a armful here. You said throughout the race, we don't have the motor. Where did you find it at the end to get to pass that 18 and keep it?
I knew I had to just dive bomb him to try and get past, and if I had waited for the last 10 laps, he was going to do everything he could to block me. So I just tried to surprise him, and I surprised myself because I got up in there pretty hot, but I made it stick, and here we are in victory lane for the second time. It's just fantastic. Got so many people to thank, but we're just going to enjoy it. It's a special time in my life, and just really proud of all my guys, and just feels great.
Marcos, I know you're worried about what other drivers think. You got to race Kyle Busch tomorrow. Your take on what happened? Were you too aggressive, or was that the time to do it?
I know, it's all I could do. If I was going to win the race, I had to try and surprise him, and I did. And we got the victory, and he was great on the restarts. He was fair, and I raced him hard. I mean, I tried to pass him for 10, 15 laps there, and didn't put a bumper to him, and I just waited for my moment and seized it.
Hey, you came close to winning the Cup race too last year. We'll see if he can sweep it tomorrow. Alan?
All right, Jamie, thanks. And so Marcos Ambrose celebrates for JTG Daugherty Racing. What are you thinking there, big man?
Well, I'm excited. Marcos did a great job. Kyle Busch, though, I mean, once again, he gets another second-place finish. Adds to his points lead. He was incredible. That was a tough move that Marcos put on him. Kyle raced him very clean, and great job of both of those guys. Some good finishes, though. Kevin Harvick had a great finish for his race team. It's good stuff.
Hey, buddy, you're being awful humble. Congratulations, Brad, for winning that race, buddy.
Oh, it's a big deal. I'm real excited. I'm really proud. Guys work extremely hard, but a lot of guys raced hard all day long, and we just happened to come out on top. Got a heck of a race car driver.
What he wants is for us to get done with the show so he can go down and celebrate with his team, and we're going to accomplish that here in a couple minutes. Championship standings in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Kyle Busch gaining a little bit of ground on Carl Edwards, just 5 points, though, as the circuit moves on to the next stop, which is 1 week from today at Michigan Speedway, a big, fast, wide 2-mile track, one of the drivers' favorites, 250 miles there, and you see the schedule ongoing for the NASCAR Nationwide Series, races you can join us at, including the next road course in a few weeks, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal.
Oh, that's a cool course. I was there last year, and what a great place to race at. But next week, it's all about the big three automakers, big four, whatever you want to call it.
Yes,
it's all about bragging rights when you get to Michigan, man. They're going to be running hard. Big horsepower up there it takes to win.
So a little bit of everything today, some strategy that had teams on different schedules. It all kind of came back together in the end. An amazing move for the win by Marcos Ambrose. Kyle Busch fought back hard. In the end, though, Ambrose celebrates a second straight Nationwide Series win here at Watkins Glen. And tomorrow, he's got another chance, as do the other 42 drivers in the field. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series racing from Watkins Glen. We start at 1 Eastern time on ESPN. And up next on ESPN2, the 2009 World Series of Poker, presented by Jack Link's Beef. So Marcos Ambrose is your winner at Watkins Glen today. Fantastic race. We're going to see more of the same here tomorrow. Hope you'll join us. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.